Chapter 1308. The galactic armor changed rapidly, finally revealing Prince Ling Feng's face. There was blood at the corner of his mouth. Clearly, he had suffered internal injuries. His eyes were like a venomous snake's. They were extremely ferocious as he stared at the void. Anger, extreme anger. That attack had been too dangerous. If not for the galactic armor, which could resist 70% of the damage, he would have died. Who is it? How dare you attack me? I will make you wish you were dead. Prince Ling Feng was like an injured beast as he roared continuously. To be honest, he was furious. Previously, he had been high and mighty, looking down on Lin Xian. However, in the blink of an eye, he had been sent flying and almost assassinated. He could not accept such an outcome. When the others saw that Prince Ling Feng was fine, they all heaved a sigh of relief. However, they also looked at the void with gloomy expressions. What? It's you. In the next moment, everyone was stunned. Their eyes widened in disbelief. Prince Ling Feng's body stiffened, and his mind went blank. This was because there was a figure floating in the void. Black robes with red totems engraved on it. The slender figure wore a golden mask. Her entire body was filled with killing intent. She was like a god of death. Luo Bingshan, the head venerate of the Skynet organization, the king of assassins. She had attacked just now. Only Prince Ling Feng had the galactic armor and could dodge this attack. If it had been anyone else, they would have been split in half. Not to mention the ninth heaven supremacies. Even the 5-star assassins in the void were stunned. They didn't think that their boss would actually make a move on young Master Ling Feng. What was going on? Luo Bingshan, you dare. You betray me. Prince Ling Feng's face was ferocious as he roared in the void. He did not expect that the assassin was not one of Lin Xian's guards, but one of his own subordinates. The assassins that he had groomed had actually tried to assassinate him at the most critical moment. If this were to spread, no one would believe it. However, it had happened now. The ninth heaven supremacies were also shocked. They all shouted, "Head Venerate Luo, are you crazy? How dare you attack Prince? Surnamed Luo, did you take the wrong medicine? How dare you betray the young master?" Facing the roar of the group of people, Luo Bingshan's expression was cold. He dares to go against master. He deserves to die. Crazy. Really crazy. Hearing Luo Bingshan's words, everyone's mind went blank. Prince Ling Feng's body trembled. But soon, he screamed, "Master? What master? Am I not your master?" The surrounding martial artists were also stunned. Right, could it be that Luo Bingshan had another master? Luo Bingshan snorted disdainfully and said in a cold voice, "You're not worthy of being my master." After saying that, she ignored the crowd and quickly landed on the lone mountain. With a flip of her hand, the peerless saber was put away. Luo Bingshan strode forward. Finally, he arrived in front of Lin Xian. Under everyone's astonished gaze, Luo Bingshan slowly knelt down. Luo Bingshan came before Lin Xian and slowly knelt down. His tone was extremely respectful as he shouted, "Greetings, master." Seeing this scene, everyone felt like their heads were about to explode. Shock, absolute shock. Such a scene was something they had never imagined in their lives. Luo Bingshan actually knelt down, and he knelt in front of an 8th heaven venerable realm cultivator. This was too unbelievable. One had to know that the other party was a 9th heaven venerable, the king of assassins, and the head of Skynet. His status even surpassed the sect master of a 6th rank sect. It could be said that his status was very high. Even when he saw Prince Ling Feng, he would only bow and salute. He had never seen him kneel before anyone. But now, Luo Bingshan was actually kneeling. Moreover, he was kneeling willingly and respectfully in front of a young man. Seeing this scene, Prince Ling Feng was so angry that his entire body trembled. He gritted his teeth so hard that they almost shattered. Luo Bingshan was the king of assassins, and he had spent a lot of effort to rope him in. Usually, he treated him like a distinguished guest. Rather than saying that they were subordinates, it was more like a cooperative relationship. Of course, Prince Ling Feng had wanted to take Luo Bingshan under his wing more than once. He even wanted to make her his concubine. But no matter what he did, he failed in the end. He knew that as the king of assassins, Luo Bingshan had his own pride. This kind of person could not be subdued and could only be treated as a cooperative partner. But now, the scene in front of him deeply stunned him. His sworn enemy, Lin Xian, had actually done something that he could not do. How could he tolerate this? On the other side, Lin Xian smiled in satisfaction. Get up. You did well. Yes, thank you, master. Luo Bingshan slowly stood up and stood beside Lin Xian. Prince Ling Feng was so angry that he laughed. Good, good, good. Boy, I really underestimated you. I didn't expect you to be able to subdue this person. This is really beyond my expectations. But so what if I've subdued him? I have 10 peak ninth heaven venerables on my side, and countless peerless powerhouses. You can't escape it all. At the end, Prince Ling Feng laughed maniacally again. Today is the day you die. All of you, go. Use all your strength and kill them. Prince Ling Feng roared crazily like a demon. Boy, how dare you go against the young master? Go to hell. The palace of Ares only has one young master, and that is our Prince Ling Feng. The 10 peak ninth heaven venerables quickly attacked like gods of war, causing the entire world to tremble. They turned into lightning and quickly charged toward Lin Xian and the rest. Not only them, but the surrounding cultivators also attacked. Terrifying auras exploded, and the entire sky was completely chaotic. With so many people, plus the 5-star assassins in the void, it could be said that this was a peerless force that no one could stop. Looking at this terrifying scene, the 9th Elder, 10th Elder, Luo Bingshan, and the rest looked extremely serious. However, they all gripped the weapons in their hands tightly, planning to fight to the death. On the other hand, Lin Xian's black hair fluttered in the wind, and his eyes were like lightning as he scanned the surroundings. Then, he shouted, Rousalong, attack! Kill them all! Facing so many people, Lin Xian finally used his ultimate move, the King's Killing Formation. Boom, boom, boom. The sky trembled, the ground cracked, and strong winds swept through, and dark clouds roared. In an instant, the entire lonely mountain changed color. Terrifying killing intent rose from the sky like peerless gods with swords piercing through heaven and earth. This killing intent was too terrifying. The 5-star assassins' faces all changed, and they were all terrified as if they had seen a ghost. Even Luo Bingshan was shocked. This killing intent was not something she could compare to. At the most critical moment, the Crimson Dragon activated the King's Killing Formation, releasing a shocking killing intent that shrouded the entire lonely mountain. Prince Ling Feng, the Duan clan, didn't you want to kill me? Today, I'll give you a big gift. All of you will go to hell. Lin Xian's cold voice resounded in all directions. Chapter 1309. Hearing his voice, the entire King's Killing Formation erupted with unparalleled energy, turning the entire area into a peerless killing formation. ***, what is this? Impossible. There's actually a killing formation here? Why didn't I detect it before? This aura is too terrifying. It's definitely not something a supremacy can release. Everyone was horrified, and even the expressions of the peerless experts changed. This was because they realized that this killing intent was too terrifying, and they could not withstand it at all. The 5-star assassins were even trembling, because in front of this aura, they were like ants facing a giant dragon, unable to resist at all. Prince Ling Feng looked as if he had been struck by lightning, and his entire person became abnormally ferocious. Impossible. This is impossible. Why is there a killing formation here? Go, break it for me. Prince Ling Feng roared like a madman, and his body was quickly covered by the galactic armor, blocking all the killing intent. However, he was not in a good situation. Although the galactic armor could block 70% of the damage, the killing intent here was too terrifying. Even if it was weakened by 70%, it was still not something he could withstand. At this moment, regardless of whether it was a 9th heaven supremacy or a 5-star assassin, their faces were all pale, and their faces were filled with despair. Once the King's Killing Formation was activated, it was earth-shattering, and it enveloped everyone, forming a hell of a Jura. However, at this moment, a peak ninth heaven supremacy roared. Everyone, don't be deceived. He's only an 8th heaven supremacy. It's impossible for him to have such a powerful killing formation. This must be an illusion. He's trying to interfere with us. As long as everyone works together and quickly rushes out, we can break the formation. At that time, that brat will definitely die. This was a peerless expert, and he was also Prince Lingfeng's guardian. At this critical moment, his thunderous voice stunned everyone. Instantly, everyone quieted down and quickly adjusted their bodies. Yes, this can't be real. There are so many of us, and there are even 10 peak ninth heaven supremacies. If we work together, we can definitely break it. At this moment, everyone's hearts were filled with hope. However, in the next moment, they fell into the abyss of despair once again. The king's killing formation trembled, and a shocking sword light shot out, tearing heaven and earth apart, directly splitting the peak ninth heaven supremacy who had shouted earlier in half. Puff! The corpse split open from the middle and fell to the ground. Blood and internal organs spilled all over the ground. The pungent smell of blood quickly spread out. No! This scene made everyone around feel as if they were struck by lightning. Their faces were deathly pale. The hope that had just risen in their hearts was extinguished just like that. Previously, they had thought that this was just an illusion technique, which did not have much power at all. However, just as they finished speaking, a ninth heaven peak venerable had died in front of them. Moreover, he had been directly killed by a beam of killing intent. They now knew that this was not an illusion, because no illusion could affect all of them. This was a true peerless killing array, one that could instantly kill a peak ninth level killing array. Everyone had lost their courage in the face of this killing array. Each and every one of them was in utter despair. Lin Xian and the others arrived at a corner of the killing array and were protected by countless killing auras. The power of this king's killing array was beyond his expectations. It could even kill someone at the peak of the ninth level. He knew that the people below were finished. None of them could escape. Although he was not a bloodthirsty person, he did not have any pity at this time. This was because these people had tried every means to kill him. He was just returning the favor. Kakik, how is it, kid? Bunhuang's king's killing array is powerful, right? The Crimson Dragon looked around and was very satisfied. On the other hand, the 9th Elder, 10th Elder, and Luo Bingshan were extremely shocked and dumbfounded. They did not expect that there would be such a terrifying killing array in the world that could easily kill a peak 9th level venerable. Looking at the terrifying aura, it was likely that no one below the king realm could escape. However, the 9th Elder and the others soon laughed wildly. In the past few years, they had been suppressed by the Duan clan. Many of their companions had been killed by the Duan clan in battle. It could be said that they were extremely miserable. Now that they had Lin Xian, their young master, they could finally avenge this grudge. The 9th Elder's eyes were like lightning. His eyes were red as he stared at the figure in front of him. Old dog Duan, last time you led the Duan clan to kill my good friend and forced us out of the palace of gods of war. Now, your retribution has finally come. The 9th Elder pretended to be crazy as he stared at a peak 9th level venerable in front of him. It was an extremely tall old man with thick arms like a demon. His body emitted a terrifying aura. When he heard the 9th Elder's voice, his expression was extremely ugly. I'll let you be arrogant for a while. When I go out later, I'll definitely kill all of you. The tall old man's expression was ferocious, and his voice shook the surroundings like thunder. The Crimson Dragon sneered and quickly activated the king's killing array. Immediately, the sky trembled, and a shocking sword light descended, piercing through the tall old man. The tall peak 9th level venerable was pierced through the heart by tens of thousands of arrows, and his body was nailed to the ground. Awesome! Ha 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 ha! Old friend, I finally avenged you. The 9th Elder looked up and laughed wildly. Seeing this, the 10th Elder was also excited. He quickly scanned the surroundings and finally stared at a peak 9th level venerable. Evil-eyed boy, I'll see you killed with my own eyes today. The 10th Elder stared at a short old man with red hair. There was an evil-eyed eye between his brows, and he looked like a demon. At this moment, He used all his strength and turned into a flash of light, shuttling quickly through the entire killing array. Hearing the 10th Elder's words, the other party let out a sharp cry. Just you wait. When I go out, I'll kill your entire family. However, the response he received was dozens of purple lightning bolts. They were like lightning dragons that descended from the sky, and the terrifying lightning drowned him. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying lightning bolts pierced through the sky and smashed the evil-eyed boy into pieces. Ha 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 ha. The evil-eyed boy is finally dead. The 10th Elder was also excited. The remaining peak 9th level venerables had extremely ugly expressions. They quickly gathered beside Prince Lingfeng. Young master, quickly use the space transfer scroll. Let's leave this place. Prince Lingfeng looked at the corpses on the ground, and his heart bled. These were the elites of the Duan family. Many of them were peerless experts in the 9th heaven, and they were the backbone of their family. Now that they were killed here, it was too painful. However, he also knew how powerful this killing array was, so he didn't dare to take it head-on. At this moment, when he heard the advice of the elders, he immediately took out a black scroll. Lin Xian, you killed so many of my experts today. When I go out, I'll kill your entire family. Not only that, everyone related to you will die. Prince Lingfeng's expression was ferocious. In the next moment, he bit his finger and dripped his blood on the black scroll. Immediately, the scroll unfolded and formed a black light that enveloped Prince Lingfeng and a few peak 9th level venerables. They turned into a black light and disappeared on the spot. Chapter 13:10. In the next moment, he bit his finger and dripped a drop of blood onto the black scroll. Immediately, the scroll unfurled and formed a black light that enveloped Prince Lingfeng and the other peak level 9 cultivators. They turned into a black light and disappeared. The scroll was very precious. It was a spatial scroll that contained a spatial array that could teleport people out instantly. It could be said to be the best method to save one's life. This kind of life-saving item was very precious in the Tianwu continent. Among these people, only Prince Lingfeng had it. If it was any other array, Prince Lingfeng and the rest might have really escaped. However, this time, it was ineffective. Previously, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon had already set up a spatial array around the king's killing array to prevent others from using the spatial teleportation array to escape. Indeed, not long after Prince Lingfeng and the rest disappeared into the void, they were shaken out by a strange force. What? The spatial scroll is ineffective. How is this possible? Prince Lingfeng's expression was extremely ugly as he roared crazily. The surrounding peak level 9 venerables also had looks of despair. This was spatial teleportation, an incomparably precious method to escape. However, it was ineffective at this moment. Who exactly was the other party? How could he have such a mysterious method? Not only could he set up such a powerful killing array, but he could also prevent them from escaping. Impossible. How is this possible? He's just a brat from the wildlands. How could he have so many tricks up his sleeve? Prince Lingfeng did not dare to believe it. He realized that he had completely underestimated the other party. He was too mysterious. The other party had countless tricks up his sleeve that far exceeded his own. Kill him for me. As long as he's dead, this array will definitely stop. Prince Lingfeng roared crazily. The surrounding peak level 9 venerables also went crazy. Now that their escape route was sealed, they could only survive by killing Lin Xian. In the next moment, they all stared in the southeast direction because that was where Lin Xian and the rest were. Die, brat. A 9th heaven venerable roared and quickly pulled out the treasured sword on his back. His entire body turned into a shocking sword light as he quickly stabbed towards Lin Xian. This was an all-out attack from a level 9 peak expert, and it was incomparably terrifying. The sword light shattered the void, forming a black torrent that instantly arrived in front of Lin Xian and the others. Die! The long sword was like a dragon, bringing with it a shocking aura as it pierced forward. The vengeful attack of a peak 9th heaven venerable was extremely terrifying. In an instant, it had arrived in front of Lin Xian. Die, brat. This peak 9th heaven venerable realm cultivator's expression was savage, and it was as if he could already see Lin Xian being pierced through by the sword. However, a purple light suddenly flickered, and a terrifying sword light descended from the sky, directly piercing through the top of the venerable master's head. A terrifying murderous aura swept out and killed the peak ninth heaven venerable. Clang! The ninth heaven venerable Tier's corpse and the sword in his hand fell to the ground with a resounding clang. You people are unpardonable. Since you dare to kill me, you can stay here forever. Lin Xian's voice resounded in all directions. Shameless boasting. Brat, you're too arrogant. Even if I die, I'll drag you down with me. Three peak ninth heaven venerables roared angrily and quickly charged over from afar. One of them had a cold expression, and powerful lightning surrounded his body. He was like the god of thunder, bringing with him a powerful sea of lightning as he charged over quickly. The other person was extremely tall, and his entire body flickered as if it was made of gold. His entire body was filled with power. He could easily tear apart heaven and earth with a raise of his hand. The last person was even more terrifying. Just his aura alone could cause the wind and clouds to change. A purple light flickered in his palm, exuding a terrifying energy. This energy gathered in the air, forming a purple light blade that slashed towards Lin Xian. The three peak ninth heaven venerables combined could definitely destroy everything, but they could not stop the king's killing formation at all. Poof! A low sound rang out, and instantly, the purple light blade in the void cracked, turning into countless pieces. At the same time, the entire king's killing formation began to circulate crazily, and a terrifying killing intent enveloped the surroundings. The void cracked, and the ground sank. Terrifying killing sword light pierced through heaven and earth, rampaging in all directions. The three peak ninth heaven venerables roared angrily, resisting the killing sword light with all their might. However, this was the king's killing formation, and it was extremely terrifying. The three ninth heaven venerables could not stop it at all. First, it was the powerhouse surrounded by purple energy. The purple light blade he shot out was instantly shattered. Not only that, but his arms also cracked rapidly, and countless cracks appeared. Then, his arms cracked, turning into a bloody mist. Next, it was his entire body. In front of such a peerless killing weapon, peak ninth heaven venerables could not resist at all. In an instant, a peak ninth heaven venerables was killed. Next, it was the powerhouse whose entire body was radiating golden light. He was a powerhouse who was extremely terrifying. Even a half-Earth grade treasure could not hurt him at all. However, in front of this killing intent, his golden body quickly cracked, turning into a pile of rotten flesh. The last lightning venerable was even more unlucky. The terrifying killing intent directly detonated the lightning on his body, and he instantly exploded into a bloody mist, no longer existing. Seeing this scene, everyone's scalps went numb, and their faces were filled with despair. Even the powerful peak ninth heaven venerables could not resist, let alone them. Join forces, break out of the encirclement. In the distance, Prince Lingfeng also roared crazily. He had the cosmic armor that could block 70% of the damage, so he was still alive. Of course, this was not just the effect of the cosmic armor. He was not constantly swallowing natural treasures to prevent himself from dying. As for the remaining peak ninth heaven venerables, they did not dare to charge anymore. They quickly gathered together and discussed with each other how to launch a sneak attack. Not long after, a red-haired old man revealed a ferocious expression. He gritted his teeth and said, "Brat, I'll let you experience my Duan family's forbidden technique today. God-slaying demon-slaughtering formation." In the end, the last three peak ninth heaven venerables joined forces and formed a mysterious trajectory. Instantly, three arm-like streaks of blood flew out of their bodies and quickly intertwined in the air. Not only that, but many martial artists in the surroundings also exploded, turning into a bloody mist. This bloody mist seemed to be guided by an unknown force, and all of it came to the front of the three ninth heaven venerables. Soon, the bloody mist increased and finally formed a bloody sword. This bloody sword was 30 meters long, and it floated in the air, exuding a dense, murderous aura. It could even block the killing intent formed by the king-killing formation. As for the three-peak ninth heaven venerables, they burned all the spiritual power in their bodies and exploded with an extremely powerful energy. Their 6 palms all grabbed the bloody sword aura, and they violently slashed forward. Boom! The bloody sword slashed forward, and the entire space collapsed. Even the killing swords could not block it. Soon, this bloody sword arrived above Lin Xian and the others, and it quickly slashed down. Chapter 13:11. Boom! The blood-red sword slashed forward, and the entire void collapsed. Even the killing swords could not stop it. Soon, the blood-red sword arrived above Lin Xian and the others and slashed down quickly. The killing aura in front of Lin Xian actually cracked, as if it could not withstand the power of the blood-red sword. Meanwhile, Lin Xian and the others' pupils constricted, and they quickly retreated. A terrifying hole appeared where they were just a moment ago. It was bottomless and exuded a dense killing aura. What's going on? Lin Xian asked in a low voice. The ninth elder and the others were also panicking. Could it be that the killing formation has been broken? The Crimson Dragon's expression was also ugly. He gritted his teeth and said, "It's fine. The formation is not broken. It's just that we were careless just now. I didn't expect these people to have such a forbidden technique." The sword just now was indeed terrifying because it was formed by the lives of 3-peak ninth heaven venerables burning their spirit power, dozens of ninth heaven venerables, and hundreds of 8th heaven venerables. It could be said that its power was boundless. Die, brat. The 3-peak ninth heaven venerables were pale. It seemed that the sword had consumed too much of their energy, but they still spared no effort to push it forward. Are we going to attack? Lin Xian's eyes were like lightning as he gripped the Lone Star sword tightly. The Crimson Dragon shook his head. Next, I'll let you see what a true king's killing formation is. It turned out that the Crimson Dragon had not fully activated the killing formation's power because it had consumed a lot of his energy to use it. However, the other party had obviously provoked him now. Therefore, he had to attack with all his strength. In the next moment, the king's killing formation trembled and exploded with an incomparable light. Countless killing aura condensed in the air, forming many giant dragons that roared in all directions. With a swing of the dragon's tail, hundreds of martial artist assassins were instantly smashed into blood mist. Corpses flew everywhere, and blood splattered everywhere. The entire mountain peak was like Azura hell. It was extremely terrifying. One of the giant dragons even charged toward the blood-red sword. With a roar, the giant dragon crashed into the blood-red sword and instantly broke it. The terrifying power caused the 3-peak ninth heaven venerables to vomit blood and fly backward. How dare you sneak attack Bin Huang? You're all dead. The Crimson Dragon was enraged, and it brandished its dragon claws. Boundless killing intent formed multiple chains that froze the 3 ninth heaven venerables in midair. Lin Xian's figure flashed, and he arrived before the 3 of them, taking away all their storage rings. 2 of them roared angrily and wanted to self-detonate to drag Lin Xian down with them. However, hundreds of sword lights appeared in the void and completely pierced through the 2 of them. The other person was also pierced through the heart by thousands of arrows, nailing him to the void. In the end, the 3 peak venerables died on the spot, and a large number of the surrounding cultivators died as well. Only 1/10 of them survived. Those who were still alive were terrified and screamed miserably. They regretted coming to kill Lin Xian. If they hadn't come, they wouldn't have to face such danger. However, it was too late now. On the other hand, Lin Xian's gaze swept across the surroundings like lightning before finally locking onto a figure. Ling Feng. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He gripped the Lone Star sword tightly and strode forward. The king's killing array was extremely terrifying. Until now, all the peerless cultivators had died, and only a few useless cultivators were still running for their lives. However, there was one exception among them. There was one expert who was still alive, and that was Prince Ling Feng. He was wearing the galactic armor, and his entire body was emitting a blue light. He was like a god of war walking on the earth. With the galactic armor's powerful defense, Prince Ling Feng had managed to hold on until now. However, his situation was not optimistic because he didn't have many spirit herbs left. If he couldn't escape now, he would die here sooner or later. In the next moment, his body trembled as he felt a gaze lock onto him. Lin Xian. Prince Ling Feng gritted his teeth, and his expression was ferocious. It was this young man in front of him who had destroyed everything he had. Now, he couldn't wait to tear him apart. Lin Xian's expression was even colder. He snorted, held the Lone Star sword, and strode forward. The two of them were mortal enemies, and there was nothing to talk about. Now that they had met, there was only one way to fight. Seeing his opponent charging towards him, Prince Ling Feng roared at the sky, looking extremely ferocious. "Kid, who do you think you are? How dare you attack me? Didn't you use a killing array to kill countless of my experts? If not for the killing array, you wouldn't be my opponent at all. Your Lin family is no match for my Duan family either." He was furious. Previously, he was extremely arrogant and had the upper hand. However, he didn't expect that because of a killing array, all the advantages he had before were gone. Not only that, but he had also suffered a crushing defeat. All the peerless experts around him had died, and he was the only one left. Those experts were all his strength, half of the Duan family's strength. Now that he had lost all his experts, the Duan family had suffered a serious blow. All of this was thanks to Lin Xian. Lin Xian sneered. "You don't have to provoke me. I didn't plan to use the killing array in the first place. I alone am enough to deal with you. Today, I'll let you know that even without the killing array, I can still kill you." Lin Xian's black hair fluttered in the wind, and he was full of fighting spirit. He held the Lone Star sword, and his entire being was like a sword god, emitting a dazzling light. Boom! In the next moment, he swung his long sword, and a terrifying sword aura swept across heaven and earth, violently slashing forward. This sword was powerful and heavy, as if a raging dragon was lying in the void. Clang! Prince Ling Feng swung his fist, contending with the huge sword aura in the sky. Then, there was an earth-shattering explosion. However, his body flew backward, crashing into countless mountains. He had suffered serious internal injuries in the killing array just now, and now he couldn't use his full strength at all. Moreover, Lin Xian's sword was too terrifying. Lin Xian didn't give chase after sending his opponent flying. Instead, he stood in the void and said coldly, "I know you have the golden imperishable pill. Hurry up and eat it, or you won't be a match for me." Prince Ling Feng wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and slowly stood up. He took out a golden elixir from his storage ring and quickly swallowed it. Then, all of his injuries healed instantly, and even his strength reached its peak. "Brat, I'll let you know the difference between us. In front of me, you'll always be an ant." Prince Ling Feng regained his confidence. Lin Xian didn't say anything, but used his actions to answer his opponent. He swung the Lone Star sword, and suddenly, countless sword radiances slashed forward. "It's useless. I have the galaxy armor, which can block 70% of the damage. Your sword aura can't hurt me at all." Prince Ling Feng laughed maniacally, and his entire body emitted a dazzling light. He was like a god of war, shuttling through the countless sword radiances. Then, he came in front of Lin Xian and threw a punch. Boom! Terrifying energy exploded, as if he was an ancient beast. "Galaxy armor? I have it too." Chapter 13:12. Prince Ling Feng laughed maniacally. His entire body emitted a dazzling light. He was like a god of war, shuttling through the countless sword radiances. Then, he arrived in front of Lin Xian and threw a punch. Boom! Terrifying energy exploded like an ancient beast. "Galactic armor? I have one too." Facing Prince Ling Feng's punch, Lin Xian snorted coldly. A blue armor appeared on his body as well. Moreover, under the blue armor, there was a bright red armor. It was the Red Lotus armor. With both armors, he could block 80% of the damage. His defense was even stronger than Prince Ling Feng's. Therefore, his opponent's punch did not hurt Lin Xian at all. On the other hand, Lin Xian's sword aura was like a mountain, suppressing young Master Ling Feng and forcing him to retreat. Galactic armor? So you have one too. Good, good, good. Kid, I didn't expect you to have this trick up your sleeve. Prince Ling Feng's expression was cold as he took out a treasured fan from his chest. It seemed like he was going to use some powerful ultimate move. Lin Xian's expression was cold. He did not want to waste any more time with his opponent. Therefore, he quickly used the Furious Dragon Will. Instantly, his body's strength increased by 5 times. Not only that, he also used the secret technique, Bloodthirsty Frenzy. He burned his own blood energy to increase his strength by 5 times. With this combination, he exploded with 10 times his strength. Not only that, he had the Lone Star Sword in his hand, which could be stacked by 5 times. In an instant, he used the Gale Lightning Sword. Lin Xian unleashed all 5 swords at the same time. Therefore, when they were stacked together, Lin Xian was able to unleash 20 times the power. 5 swords combined into one. Die. In the sky, 5 gigantic swords appeared and filled the sky. They exuded an ancient aura. Then, the 5 gigantic swords quickly combined into one, forming a solid ancient sword. It slashed forward fiercely. Prince Ling Feng's expression changed. He did not expect his opponent to fight him to the death. However, he roared and exploded with all his strength. Together with the treasured fan in his hand, he quickly attacked. In the next moment, the two forces collided and exploded in the sky. The terrifying energy swallowed the two figures. When everything disappeared, Lin Xian stood in the sky like a god of war. Prince Ling Feng retreated pathetically and spat out mouthfuls of blood. Although he had used all his strength to block that sword, he was severely injured. Damn it! Impossible! How can he have such strength? Young Master Ling Feng clenched his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter. He had never imagined that an 8th heavenly layer venerable brat would be able to display a strength stronger than his own. He simply could not accept this. Moreover, what made him even more terrified was that the other party was not injured at all. With this comparison, the difference in strength was obvious. It's not like that. I must have been careless. Brat, just you wait. I'll use all my strength right now. I'll definitely be able to kill you. Prince Ling Feng went crazy. He took out another golden indestructible pill and was about to swallow it. Lin Xian coldly snorted as he pointed his finger forward. Instantly, the void-shattering finger flew out and slammed into Prince Ling Feng's hand. The powerful force shattered the golden indestructible pill. You, die. Prince Ling Feng roared crazily when he saw his life-saving pill shattered. He was unwilling to give up. He still had many secret skills that he had not used. With his strength, as long as he used those secret skills, he would be able to kill his opponent. However, Lin Xian sneered disdainfully, "Stop struggling. You can't defeat me. Today, I will kill you with my strongest move." With that, Lin Xian closed his eyes and sheathed the Lone Star Sword. Dragon Sword Soul. When Lin Xian opened his eyes again, a green sword shadow had appeared in front of him. A dragon-shaped sword floated in the air, emitting a terrifying aura. It stunned the surrounding king level-killing aura. For a moment, the entire mountain peak was silent. There was no sound at all. The surviving martial artists looked at the dragon-shaped sword in a daze. Prince Ling Feng's pupils shrank and his scalp went numb. Impossible! This is impossible! He was too shocked. The dragon-shaped sword shadow was too terrifying. It was even more terrifying than the killing aura around him. This kind of power could definitely kill him. He could not understand how his opponent could have such a terrifying sword shadow. Prince Ling Feng's face was pale. He knew that his opponent was right. No matter what secret skills he used, he would not be able to block the sword aura in front of him. In the next moment, he clenched his teeth and burned his spiritual energy. He turned and ran. The great young master of the Duan clan, Prince Ling Feng of the Tianwu continent. He was a prodigy of the younger generation. However, such a dazzling figure was like a stray dog in front of Lin Xian. He did not even have the strength to fight back. Lin Xian stretched out his hand and grabbed the dragon sword soul. Then, he slashed forward. With one slash, heaven and earth lost their color. Even the killing aura around him was suppressed. In the sky, the escaping Prince Ling Feng trembled. His pupils dilated. Then, countless sword wounds appeared on his body. It was extremely terrifying. Finally, with a boom, he exploded into a bloody mist. Young Master Ling Feng, whose name had shaken the entire sky martial continent, had been killed by a single sword strike. Everyone was shocked when they saw this. Prince Ling Feng was the hope of the Duan clan. He was the future master of the Duan clan. But now, he was killed. No matter how dazzling or powerful you were when you were alive, as long as you were dead, nothing would exist. As for the remaining Duan clan martial artists, Lin Xian did not say anything. He just waved his hand and killed all of them. The 9th Elder, the 10th Elder, and Luo Bingshan looked at their surroundings in shock. Previously, they did not dare to imagine such a scene. One had to know that Prince Ling Feng had brought 10 peak 9th Heaven Venerables, over 59th Heaven Venerables, and close to 108th Heaven Venerables. Other than that, there were countless 7th Heaven Venerables and 5-star assassins. Such a force could kill a half-step king. But now, all of them were dead. They knew that if this matter were to spread, it would definitely cause a commotion in the entire Tianwu continent. At that time, the Duan clan would definitely go all out and counterattack crazily. This was because killing so many peerless experts at once was something that had never happened in the Tianwu continent. Not only were there peerless experts, but Prince Ling Feng had also died. The Duan clan would definitely go crazy. At that time, they would definitely hunt down Lin Xian all over the world. Lin Xian was calm. He said in a low voice, "Clean up the battlefield and collect all the storage rings. Then, we will leave." Buzz, buzz, buzz. The peerless killing formation shook and quickly disappeared. Soon, the surrounding scene was revealed. It was still night time, and countless dark clouds gathered in the sky. The dark clouds made people feel depressed. However, as the king-killing formation disappeared, the dark clouds quickly dissipated. The last full moon was in the sky, emitting a cold light. On the other hand, the entire Chongling Mountain had been shattered and turned into ruins. Chapter 13:13. With the disappearance of the king's killing array, the dark clouds quickly dissipated. The last full moon hung in the sky, emitting a cold light. On the other hand, the entire Chongling Mountain had been shattered and turned into ruins. Not only that, the ground was littered with corpses and blood. The pungent smell of blood filled the air, making the place look like hell. The 9th Elder and the 10th Elder quickly collected the storage rings scattered on the ground. Previously, when the Crimson Dragon activated the array to kill people, it purposely left the warriors' storage rings untouched. Therefore, Lin Xian and the others collected all of them. Lin Xian, on the other hand, raised his head and stared at the void where a set of blue armor was floating and flickering. Beside it, there was an ancient ring. The blue armor was naturally the Starry Sky armor. It belonged to Prince Ling Feng. Previously, Lin Xian's sword did not destroy the armor. Instead, it slashed directly at Prince Ling Feng's body. Therefore, Prince Ling Feng's entire body turned into a bloody mist. However, the Starry Sky armor and storage ring were not damaged at all. With a wave of his hand, the two treasures in the void quickly flew towards Lin Xian. Soon, the Starry Sky armor and storage ring arrived in front of Lin Xian. The Starry Sky armor was a defensive treasure. It could withstand 70% of the damage. It was rare in the world. It was because of this treasure that Prince Ling Feng could survive until the end. The House of Kings did not have many treasures like this. They were only given to the most important people. But now, Lin Xian had another set in his hands. The storage ring beside it also belonged to Prince Ling Feng. There must be a lot of treasures in it. With a wave of his hand, he put the two treasures into the white bone ring. On the other side, the 9th Elder, the 10th Elder, and the others had also finished cleaning up the battlefield and collected all the storage rings. Then, Lin Xian released countless black flames, forming a sea of black flames that enveloped the entire mountain. The mountain, trees, corpses, and blood were all turned into ashes in the terrifying black flames. In the end, Nothing was left. Lin Xian and the others soared into the sky and disappeared into the night sky. A few days later, the news still spread. It was no secret that Prince Lingfeng had led a large group of experts to hunt down Duan Lingfeng. However, after a few days, there was no news. This meant that something bad had happened. All kinds of news were all over the sky. The Duan clan's experts were searching, trying to find all kinds of lies. However, no matter how hard they searched, they could not find Prince Lingfeng and the others. There could only be one result. It can't be. There are so many peerless experts and terrifying assassins. Could it be that they were all killed? Everyone was shocked, and the entire continent went crazy. What? All the ninth heavenly layer peak powerhouses are dead? How is that possible? How could Lin Xian and the others possess such strength? They were all level peak of kings. It was a top-rate combat strength in the Exalt realm, and it was terrifying to the extreme. However, at this moment, they were all killed. Could it be Lin Zhan's faction? Someone guessed. They did not believe that Lin Xianfeng and the others could kill level 9 peak level venerables. However, someone soon spread the news. That's not the case. The experts from Lin Zhan's faction did not move. That was because killing Prince Lingfeng was not something that could be done by one or two experts. Even if they moved, they should be cultivators of similar strength. With so many people moving, it would definitely attract everyone's attention. It was impossible that no one had noticed. Hence, this was not Lin Xianfeng's faction. Then who is it? Could it be that Lin Xianfeng has other mysterious factions? Someone guessed. However, the more they dug, the more shocked they were. It's not one level 9 peak level venerables, but 10. Moreover, they're all dead. Everyone's mind went blank. They could not believe it. Heavens! Those ninth heaven venerables were all killed mercilessly like harvested chives. There were also hundreds of level 8 venerables, countless cultivators, and assassins. None of them escaped. What kind of technique is this? It's really too heaven-defying. This can no longer be described as shocking. This is simply a miracle. I'm afraid only King Realm experts can do this. One had to know that Prince Lingfeng's people could already kill half-step King Realm experts. Hence, no one could do this except for King Realm experts. Big news. Shocking news. The battlefield has been discovered by experts at Chongling Mountain. Not long after, new news came. It turned out that a peerless expert had found the location of the battle. Instantly, countless cultivators rushed into the sky and rushed to Chongling Mountain. Looking at the pitch-black deep hole that had been completely burned, all the cultivators felt their scalps go numb. Those peerless experts frowned. Although everything had been burned, they could still sense the residual smell of blood in the air, as well as endless killing intent. What kind of aura is this? It's too terrifying. It's not something a venerables can release. It's too terrifying. The smell of blood in the air is definitely not caused by one or two corpses. There are definitely hundreds of corpses. Furthermore, they are all experts, peerless experts. This is probably half of the Duan clan's strength. They were actually wiped out. I'm afraid the Duan clan will go crazy this time. That Lin Xian has already grown to such an extent? With such heaven-defying methods, I'm afraid the remaining Duan clan won't be his match. This kid is too dangerous. We can't make him our enemy. For a moment, everyone was terrified. Indeed, hundreds of experts had died in this battle. There were even dozens of peerless experts, as well as the famous Prince Lingfeng. It could be said that this was the most tragic battle in the past few hundred years. The shock from this battle did not disappear. Instead, it became more and more intense, quickly affecting the entire Sky Martial continent. Duan clan. The clan was dead silent. When they heard the news that Prince Lingfeng and all the experts he had brought with him had been killed, everyone was stunned. They didn't dare believe it, nor did they dare accept it, because it was half of their clan's strength. Prince Lingfeng was the future master of their Duan clan. However, all of them had actually been killed, and not a single one of them had escaped alive. It was even to the extent that they didn't even know what method their enemy had utilized. For a time, the entire Duan clan was in panic, and they felt like the end of the world was approaching. On the other hand, the martial exalt was even more frenzied. The Duan clan's ancestor was in closed-door cultivation and was trying his best to break through into the king realm, so he didn't know about this. The entire Duan clan was managed by the martial exalt now, and he went completely berserk when he found out that his son had been killed. On that very day, he led his experts out of the Duan clan to pursue Lin Xian. However, he quickly regretted it because he was targeted as soon as he showed himself. It turned out that a quasi-king had ambushed him with the intention of using his head to exchange for a longevity pill. It wasn't just that. He'd encountered a formidable opponent. The martial exalt's face darkened completely when he saw this person. Chapter 13-14. Wu Zun led countless experts and left the Duan clan to chase after Lin Xian. However, he soon regretted it because he was targeted the moment he appeared. Some half-step kings wanted to exchange his head for a longevity pill. Not only that, he met a powerful opponent, Sword Venerable. He met Sword Venerable. At this moment, Sword Venerable was tall and straight. Although his hair was still white, there was no trace of age on his face. Not only that, his aura was even sharper. It was as if a divine sword had been unsheathed. Sword Venerable had been reborn. Not only had his body recovered, but even his cultivation had recovered. A few months ago, Sword Venerable had taken a longevity pill and gained 30 years of lifespan. After a few months of recovery and taking old-time tea, his body had reached its peak and his cultivation had recovered to the half-step king realm. This could be said to be a miracle. The entire continent was shocked. The deity Sword Villa went crazy, and Sword Venerable himself was even more excited. Of course, all of this was because of Lin Xian. Therefore, he was very grateful to Lin Xian. Now that he knew that Wu Zun wanted to kill Lin Xian, he was naturally the first to rush forward. Wu Zun's face turned green because his opponent was a peerless expert whose name had shaken the continent 1,000 years ago. His sword skills were unfathomable and definitely not inferior to his own. Not only that, there were half-step kings hiding around who wanted to take his life. It could be said that he was in a very awkward situation. If he were to fight, he would not be able to gain any advantage and might even be killed. However, if he were to leave just like that, he would not be able to vent the anger in his heart. For a moment, these people were stunned in the void. Wu Zun was so angry that his body trembled. In the end, his body trembled and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Good, good, good. Lin Xian, Sword Venerable, I'll remember you. And those people hiding in the dark, just you wait. When my father becomes a king, you will all die. He roared crazily like a crazy beast. However, in the end, he had no choice but to return to the Duan clan with a group of experts. When this news spread, the entire continent was shocked again. They did not expect that even Wu Zun would be forced to retreat and could not attack. This Lin Xian's strength was just too strong. Everyone was shocked, and the forces and clans that were allied with the Duan clan were all silent. Many of their people were even transferred back, and none of them dared to find trouble with Lin Xian. It could be said that at this moment, Lin Xian was in the limelight, overshadowing the four young masters of Tianwu. No one in the younger generation could compare to him. While the outside world was in chaos, Lin Xian and the others had already returned to Starpoint Peak. They knew that once this news spread out, it would definitely cause a commotion across the entire continent. At that time, the Duan clan would also crazily counterattack, so they returned early in the morning. Not only that, the disciples of the immortal martial auction house and the Dragon's Word Pavilion who were outside were all summoned back. Lin Xian would not give the Duan family any chance to retaliate. The outside world was indeed in chaos, but Lin Xian was having a party. The bonfire was raised, and the corpses of the huge demonic beasts were cleaned up and placed on top of the bonfire. Golden grease dripped onto the fire, making crackling sounds. Soon, the aroma of barbecued meat filled the mountain. Plates of spirit fruits and cups of spirit wine were casually placed on the grass. Lin Xian, the 9th elder, the 10th elder, and Wang Li Dongfang Xiong and the other disciples of the Dragon Sword Pavilion gathered together and ate and drank to their heart's content. Killing Prince Lingfeng and exhausting half of the Duan clan's strength was indeed something worth celebrating. Brother Xian, awesome. It's too awesome. So many experts at the peak of the 9th stage. All of them were killed. This kind of scene, just thinking about it makes me excited. Wang Li shouted excitedly. Dongfang Xiong scratched his head at the side. Brother Xian, you're too mean. Why didn't you bring your brothers to watch such a wonderful scene? I've never seen a 9th stage expert killed. That's right, Brother Xian. Next time there's such a good thing, bring us along to watch. The group of disciples of the Dragon Sword Pavilion chatted and laughed. All right, when there's a chance in the future, I'll definitely bring you guys along. Lin Xian said boldly. Come, cheers. Today, we won't rest until we're drunk. A group of people were celebrating. Among the crowd, Dugu Aotian and Li Yunfei were also holding their wine cups. However, the two of them were in a daze. It was obvious that they were completely shocked by the news outside and had yet to recover from their shock. Is this really Lin Xian? Why do I feel like I'm dreaming? Li Yunfei could not believe it. Dugu Aotian also laughed bitterly. I originally wanted to treat him as an opponent, but now it seems that I can't even see his figure. I've long been left far behind. The two of them were indeed depressed. To be honest, the two of them were also talented martial arts geniuses. That was why they had reached the 7th level of the Venerable Realm at such a young age. At their age, they could be said to be at the top. However, compared to Lin Xian, they felt an endless sense of defeat. Haha, don't be discouraged. Not to mention you. Even I am filled with frustration. Beside them, Meng Tian also raised his wine cup and laughed. Junior brother Lin is a monster. He's the only one in the entire Tianwu continent. No one else can compare to him. That's why you've been looking for the wrong target from the beginning. Find someone else. Meng Tian, who was ranked 3rd on the previous mysterious sovereign leaderboard and was now the main powerhouse of the punishment hall, also lamented. Beside him, a handsome man also said, That's right. I originally thought that the boss would be able to suppress him, but now it seems that even 10 bosses are not enough. This young man was ranked 2nd on the previous mysterious sovereign leaderboard. The boss that they were referring to was naturally ranked 1st on the previous mysterious sovereign leaderboard. At that moment, he was also the strongest warrior of the younger generation in the punishment hall. However, compared to Lin Xian, he was indeed much weaker. After all, even someone as strong as Sir Lingfeng had been defeated by Lin Xian. In the entire continent, there were probably not many people in the younger generation who could compete with Lin Xian. If nothing went wrong, junior brother Lin would definitely become a king. These people looked at Lin Xian with envy. After a night of partying, everyone had a great time. On the 2nd day, Lin Xian had a good rest. On the 3rd day, he once again resumed his normal cultivation. The 9th elder and the 10th elder did not leave either. The two of them were counting the spoils of war. In the previous battle, they had obtained hundreds of storage rings. These were all storage rings of powerhouses. There were even storage rings of peak 9th level martial artists. There were countless treasures inside. What they needed to do now was to count and organize these treasures. Good stuff. Really good stuff. What a great harvest. There are only 10 peak 9th level martial artists. How good would it be if there were 10 more? The 10th elder was very excited because the storage rings of the peak 9th level martial artists were very rich. It could be said that they were a small treasure trove. After spending almost an entire day, the two of them finally finished counting all the items in the storage rings. The result made them suck in a breath of cold air. Chapter 13-15. After spending an entire day, the two of them finally finished checking all the items in the storage rings. The result made them suck in a breath of cold air. Too many. It was too many. The amount was comparable to that of a 6th rank sect. Not only that, the storage rings of the peak 9th rank honorables were even more precious. There were countless treasures inside, and there were even dozens of half-earth rank weapons. Other than that, there were all kinds of weapons, armor, spiritual herbs, spiritual pills, and secret manuals. In other words, the spoils of war this time were the most that the 9th elder and the 9th elder had ever seen in their lives. This did not include the galactic armor that Lin Xian had obtained and Prince Lingfeng's storage ring. Thinking about it, young Master Lingfeng's storage ring should be even richer. Indeed, Lin Xian was also checking Prince Lingfeng's storage ring. Even though he was used to seeing countless treasures, he could not help but be amazed when he saw the storage ring. Other than the galactic armor, the most valuable item was the imperishable golden pill. Lin Xian had seen the power of the imperishable golden pill before. It could heal a severely injured person instantly. It could be said that Lin Xian had been eyeing it for a long time. Now, he finally got it. 7 pills, a total of 7 pills. Prince Lingfeng's storage ring had 7 imperishable golden pills. This was definitely a shocking amount of money. The imperishable golden pills were extremely rare. Even the Duan family did not have many. It was already very impressive for an important person to have 1 or 2, but Prince Lingfeng had 7. Including the one that he had eaten previously, he had 8 in total. Under normal circumstances, if young noble Lingfeng were to fight someone, he would have 8 chances to survive. This was absolutely heaven-defying and undefeatable, unless someone was like Lin Xian, who killed him with 1 strike and did not give him the chance to eat the imperishable golden pill. Actually, Lin Xian was also feeling a bit of lingering fear. Fortunately, he had been decisive at that time and used his most powerful attack to kill his opponent. Otherwise, if he really fought with the other party, the battle situation would be different. Looking at the 7 golden indestructible pills in his hand, Lin Xian was extremely excited. This was equivalent to having 7 lives. Yes, 1 for Murong, 1 for Qiu and 1 for Zhao Shui. Lin Xian thought for a moment and decided to give 3 to the 3 of them. Because he had an unusual relationship with these 3 women, he didn't want anything to happen to them. Murong Qingcheng and Shun Jingqiu were easy to deal with. He could just give them to them when the time came. However, Zhao Shui was in a difficult position because he did not know where she was. Forget it. I'll leave it for her first. Lin Xian carefully put away the indestructible golden pill. This was a good life-saving item. He wouldn't eat it unless he was in a life-or-death situation. Other than the indestructible gold core, there were many other good things in the storage ring. For example, the treasured fan contained a fragmented Earth-rank treasure artifact, and its power was boundless. Other than that, there was also a treasured saber that also contained a fragmented Earth-rank treasure artifact. The other weapons were also of high grades. Lin Xian also found 2 Earth-rank martial arts, a fist technique and a palm technique. However, he didn't plan to learn them now. Instead, he kept them. As for the other spiritual pills, spiritual herbs, and countless spiritual stones, Lin Xian only glanced at them and didn't pay too much attention to them. Because he could have as many of these things as he wanted, he didn't care too much about them. What he really cared about was the fragmented Earth-rank treasure artifact and the precious spiritual pills. These were the real treasures. No matter what, this was definitely a great harvest. It was even more than all of his belongings. This was only Prince Lingfeng's personal wealth. Wu Zun and the entire Duan family must have even more wealth and treasures. I really want to tear down the Duan family's nest. Lin Xian was very envious. However, he also knew that this matter couldn't be rushed. He had just killed Prince Lingfeng. The Duan family was probably crazy and couldn't wait for him to deliver himself to their doorstep. Therefore, this matter had to be delayed. Soon, the 9th elder and the other 2 handed over the list to Lin Xian. Lin Xian looked at it and nodded in satisfaction. He didn't keep most of these things and let the 9th elder and the other 2 bring them back for the people of the Palace of Gods of War to use as cultivation resources. He also left a small portion for the people of the Dragon Sword Pavilion to cultivate. These people were his foundation and the foundation of his future. Therefore, Lin Xian was never stingy with his own people. Wang Li, Yu Fei, Dongfang Xiong, and the other disciples of the Dragon Sword Pavilion were also very excited after receiving these cultivation resources. They were even more loyal to Lin Xian. "Young master, why don't you come back with us?" The 9th elder and the other 2 said. "Sure, I haven't been to the Palace of Gods of War before." Lin Xian nodded. He was a little tempted. Now, the situation had reversed. The Duan family had suffered heavy losses and had already left the Palace of Gods of War. Lin Zhan's line of people had regained control of the Palace of Gods of War. Therefore, it was very safe for Lin Xian to head to the Palace of Gods of War now. However, he didn't let his guard down and didn't set off immediately. Instead, he let the Crimson Dragon set up a king's killing formation again. Anyway, he had just obtained a large amount of resources and could definitely create a king's killing formation. Moreover, Lin Xian had a new request for this king's killing formation, which was that it could be carried around with him. If it was someone else, they wouldn't be able to do it. However, the Crimson Dragon definitely had no problem. It was a formation expert and had so many materials with it. Naturally, it could create such a portable killing formation. However, it would take a little longer. It's fine. I can wait as long as it takes. Go ahead. Lin Xian wasn't in a hurry. This time, it took even longer to create the king's killing formation. It took more than a month. However, the final result was still very good. A portable king's killing formation. Its power wasn't any weaker than the previous one. Moreover, it could be carried around and released at any time. It could be said that it was Lin Xian's ultimate weapon. However, this wasn't something that could be used forever. It was a consumable item, which meant that it could only be used once. Once it was released, it would be used up. Lin Xian wasn't too surprised. If this king's killing formation could be used without restraint, then he might really be invincible against anyone below the king level. However, there was no such thing in the world. Lin Xian wasn't too disappointed that it could only be used once. This was originally his trump card. Unless it was a life or death situation, he wouldn't take it out. He also had other life-saving methods, such as the 10,000 bee sting. However, to make the 10,000 bee sting attack once required an Earth-tier treasure fragment. This price was too high. Lin Xian didn't have much left, so he didn't use the 10,000 bee sting if he could. Since he had the king's killing formation, Lin Xian's safety was guaranteed. Then, the group of people set off and flew towards the Palace of Gods of War. The Palace of Gods of War was a king-level force in the Tianwu continent. It dominated a region and could be said to be the most powerful force. However, Lin Xian was very confused when he heard the Ninth Elder and the others talk about it. According to them, Lin Zhan became the palace master of the Palace of Gods of War 15 years ago. But how is that possible? Chapter 13:16. Along the way, Lin Xian was very confused as he listened to the Ninth Elder and the rest discussion. According to them, Lin Zhan became the palace master of the Palace of Ares 15 years ago. But how is that possible? Lin Xian clearly remembered that 15 years ago, he was only 6 years old. At that time, Lin Zhan stayed with him every day in the Swordpool Mansion. Moreover, the Tianan region was very far from here. It was impossible for Lin Zhan to travel to both places at the same time. Lin Zhan left the Swordpool Mansion at the same time as him. It should be less than 5 years. At that time, he thought that his father was dead. He only found out later that his father came to the Tianwu continent. However, there was a difference of more than 10 years in between. The time didn't match at all. What is going on? Lin Xian was very confused. However, it wasn't appropriate for him to ask the Ninth Elder and the Ninth Elder about this. Hence, he could only keep it in his heart and prepare to ask his father when he met him. The Palace of Ares was in the center of the Tianwu continent. It occupied the most fertile land and the best spirit vein. The palace was even more majestic. It had golden bricks and green tiles. Its aura was extraordinary. At a glance, there were countless palaces and pavilions. It was like a paradise on earth. Looking at the paradise-like palaces in the distance, Lin Xian sighed in his heart. According to the Ninth Elder, when Lin Zhan was in charge of the Palace of Ares, the surrounding countries were all subsidiaries of the Palace of Ares, not to mention those sixth-rank sects and countless family clans. It could be said that the Palace of Ares was the true overlord of the continent. It was an existence that could make countless powerful martial artists submit to. However, in recent years, with Lin Zhan in seclusion and the Duan family seizing power, the Palace of Ares was quickly depleted. The countries and sects under it were also quickly divided. Until now, although it was still a huge organization, it was no longer the same as when it was at its peak. However, the The ninth elder and the rest believed that as long as Lin Zhan came out of seclusion, the palace of Ares would be glorious again. Lin Xian's arrival was received by a group of powerful elders. These people looked at Lin Xian with smiles on their faces. Their eyes were shining brightly. They couldn't wait to kiss him. They couldn't help but be excited. This was their young master. This was the youth who had killed Prince Lingfeng and countless other peerless experts. He was the future hope of the Palace of War. That was why the elders were so excited to see Lin Xian. Lin Xian was also very happy, because he knew that these people firmly supported his father, which made him very moved. Lin Xian didn't stay idle after interacting with the elders of the older generation. He immediately went to the place where his father was in seclusion. The place where Lin Zhan was in seclusion was a valley called Wanling Valley. This valley was very strange and very famous because there was a huge spiritual vein underground. It could be said that it was the creation of heaven and earth. The spirit qi here was so abundant that it was visible to the naked eye. As soon as Lin Xian entered, he was so moved that the blood in his body began to boil. He quickly absorbed the surrounding spiritual energy. This was simply too shocking because this place was truly a holy land for cultivation. As expected of the House of Kings, it actually had such a heaven-defying place. Even the Crimson Dragon was envious. "Young master, we can't go any further. There's a supreme array in front. Even kings can't break it." The ninth elder said quickly. This was also the reason why the Palace of War wasn't worried. It was because no one could enter the place where Lin Zhan was in seclusion. The Crimson Dragon held his chin and swam around quickly to check the front. In the end, he sighed and said, "That's right. There's indeed a huge array in front. It's an ancient array. It will take me a few years to break it. So powerful." Lin Xian was shocked. However, he was elated after that. This meant that his father was absolutely safe. "Ninth elder, I would like to cultivate here for a period of time." Lin Xian looked at the valley in front and said slowly, "Young master, feel free to cultivate here for as long as you want. I guarantee that no one will disturb you." The ninth elder left to settle some matters. As for Lin Xian, he found a place to sit down. Although he couldn't see his father now, it was good to be able to stay in the place where his father was in seclusion for a period of time. The Crimson Dragon also agreed to this suggestion because the spiritual energy here was too dense. It was just right for him to recover. "Amazing, amazing." The Crimson Dragon circled around a few times and then praised, "Kid, I have to say that your father is really amazing. This underground shouldn't be a spiritual vein. It should be a dragon vein." The effect of cultivating here for a long time was heaven-defying. However, the path ahead was sealed by an ancient array. Otherwise, he would also want to play around in the valley. The Crimson Dragon sighed. Lin Xian said cautiously, "Ruzalong, don't mess around." This guy didn't have any scruples. He was really afraid that he would destroy the array in front of him. "Hee, don't worry. I won't mess around." With Ruzalong's guarantee, Lin Xian was relieved. He closed his eyes, formed seals with his hands, and quickly cultivated. Gradually, he entered an ethereal state. The longevity secret art in his body quickly circulated and absorbed the rich spiritual energy around him. This place was very good. Cultivating here for a day was equivalent to cultivating for a few years in the outside world. Therefore, Lin Xian planned to cultivate here well. Chapter 13:17. In an instant, the strange feeling disappeared. He realized that he had left the periphery of the Thousand Spirit Valley. He was also very familiar with the place he was in. In front of him was a small black cauldron with birds and beasts carved on it. It was abnormally agile. It was 10,000 beasting. Beside it was a purple bamboo that was flickering with lightning. It was the purple thunder divine bamboo. There were many spiritual herbs planted around the bamboo. "This is the world in my body." Lin Xian was surprised. He realized that he had come to the world of the sword-shaped pendant lock in his body. However, there was a difference. This was different from the situation he had entered before. Previously, it was his soul power that entered, but this time, it was his body that entered. This situation had only happened when Lord Alcohol was around. After Lord Alcohol left, His body couldn't enter the world at all. But now, he actually came in again. It had to be said that it was really unexpected. Could it be that Lord Alcohol is back? Lin Xian was shocked because he clearly remembered that Lord Alcohol had entered the depths of this world. No, that's not right. It's not Lord Alcohol. Lin Xian shook his head. It was the dragon roar in the Thousand Spirit Valley that caused this movement. Could it be father? Lin Xian was shocked. He guessed that this might be his father's doing. Sure enough, in the next moment, a figure quickly appeared near the withered tree in front of him. It was a man with a stalwart figure. His face was sharp, and he looked very determined. He was like a god of war. Although he didn't emit any aura, he felt like a vast sea, a vast starry sky, and bottomless. This aura had already surpassed the supremacy realm. Father! Lin Xian looked at the figure in front of him and was extremely excited. He quickly shouted. It was indeed his father. His father had pulled him into this mysterious space. Lin Xian ignored everything and ran forward crazily. However, when he reached the withered tree, he couldn't take another step forward. His father's figure was on the other side of the withered tree. They were only a few meters apart, but Lin Xian couldn't cross it. Xianer, you've grown up, Lin Zhan said in a calm voice. Father, is it really you? Am I dreaming? Lin Xian was overjoyed. He stopped moving forward and stood beside the tree to ask questions. It's me. I didn't expect you to come to the Myriad Spirits Valley so soon. It seems that the situation outside is much better than I expected. Lin Zhan's face was filled with love. Father, why are you here? And what's with the Palace of War? What's with this space? Why did they say that you came here 15 years ago? But you've only been gone for 5 years. By the way, where's my mother? Mother has also left the Swordpool Manor. Where is she now? Lin Xian asked a series of questions because he was too confused. Everything that had happened to him was extremely strange. However, in the face of so many questions, Lin Zhan only answered one. Your mother is with me now. She's in the Myriad Spirits Valley, but she can't enter this space world, so you can't meet for the time being. When he heard this, Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. However, he still had many questions. Xian, I can't explain everything in such a short time. Moreover, I can't stay in your world for too long. But there's one thing you must remember. You're my son. You don't have to doubt this. As for the time difference, I'll explain it to you in the future. Lin Zhan's voice was calm. Why can't I tell you now? Lin Xian sounded anxious as he really wanted to know the reason. I can't tell you now because time is tight. I need you to do something for me. Something? What's the matter? Lin Xian asked. Go back to the Tianan region and rescue the Lin family, Lin Zhan said in a low voice. Go back to the Tianan region? Lin Xian was surprised. This was something that he had planned for a long time. But why did his father's voice sound a little anxious? Did something happen in the Tianan region? Lin Xian asked again. Something did happen. I'm still in seclusion and can't go out. However, I have a rough idea. Something seemed to have appeared in the Tianan region, causing the overall cultivation strength to increase tremendously. However, the Tianan region is now under the control of the Black Dragon sect. Hence, most of the benefits this time belong to the Black Dragon sect. If this continues, the martial artists and citizens in the Tianan region will suffer even more. They won't be able to make a living. Moreover, the Lin family is still there. Hence, you'd better go back quickly and destroy the Black Dragon sect, Lin Zhan said in a low voice. Okay, I'll go back now. Lin Xian also knew that the situation was serious. His parents were very safe, so he didn't have to worry about them at all. On the contrary, he was very worried about the Tianan region. Although the Lin family was sealed by the ice and the Black Dragon sect couldn't break it, a few years had passed. Who knew what would happen now? At this moment, Lin Zhan said again, don't be careless. Although you're quite strong, I still have to remind you. The Tianan region has undergone tremendous changes in the past few years. Its martial cultivation isn't inferior to the Tianan region anymore. Lin Zhan reminded him, especially the Black Dragon sect leader. He has already stepped into the King Realm. He even has half-step King Realm and many peak 9th rank King Realm subordinates. stepped into the king realm. Lin Xian was shocked when he heard this. This news really surprised him. After all, it's extremely difficult to break through to the king realm. Otherwise, there would be piles of king realm cultivators on the Tianwu continent, and there wouldn't be only a few of them now. After all, the Duan family's ancestor was still unable to break through to the king realm even after risking his life. However, he didn't expect that the Black Dragon sect's sect leader would actually succeed in breaking through to the king realm in the Tianan region. Not only that, but from what he heard, the sect leader's subordinates didn't seem to be any weaker than the House of Kings. Father, are you asking me to challenge the House of Kings alone? The corners of Lin Xian's mouth twitched. Lin Zhan smiled and said, Kid, don't complain to me. Your current strength is probably not even comparable to half-step king realm. If I don't give you some pressure now, how can you improve so quickly? Believe in yourself. The great dragon sword soul in your body is definitely beyond your imagination. As long as there's enough pressure from the outside world, you'll be able to maintain a high-speed cultivation state. Moreover, although the Black Dragon sect as a whole has made a great breakthrough, it's not the result of natural cultivation. Instead, it's because they've consumed something external. Although they have power, their martial cultivation foundation isn't stable. Compared to the real House of Kings, they're far too inferior. What kind of thing can allow their cultivation to improve so much in just a few years? Lin Xian was extremely curious. Chapter 13:18. What could it be that allowed their cultivation to increase by so much in just a few short years? Lin Xian asked curiously. I don't know either. You have to find out yourself. Go. Return to the Tianan region as soon as possible. I might be out of seclusion by the time you return. Lin Zhan's figure gradually faded. Oh right, father. I have a few indestructible golden pills here. I'll give you and mother too. Lin Xian was about to take out his storage ring. I don't need those things. Keep them for yourself. Lin Zhan shook his head slightly. Then, his figure completely disappeared. Are they gone? Lin Xian was a little disappointed. After all, he hadn't seen his parents for almost 4 to 5 years. Forget it. Father is already a king and has a lifespan of 2,000 years. Mother is also here. I don't have to worry. I'd better hurry back to the Tianan region. Lin Xian moved and left the mysterious world in his body. The next moment, he opened his eyes and stood up from the grass. Ruzalong, stop cultivating. There's something new for us to do. Damn, kid. Stop fooling around. Ben Huang is in the middle of cultivating. The Crimson Dragon was very unhappy that his cultivation was interrupted. The spirit chi here was too dense. Sai, let's continue cultivating when we come back. There's really something urgent this time. Lin Xian sighed and pulled him up. What's so urgent? Are you going to attack the Duan family? The Crimson Dragon was confused. No, I'm going back to the Tianan region, Lin Xian said. Tianan region? Yes, my hometown. Hearing this, the Crimson Dragon was interested. Your hometown? Sounds good. Is there anything fun to do there? Let's go. I'll tell you on the way. I have to decorate Sinmu College first. Then, the two of them flew into the sky and returned to the God of War Palace to bid farewell to the 9 elders. Although he knew that the Black Dragon sect in the Tianan region was very powerful, he didn't mobilize people from the God of War Palace. Although the Duan clan had suffered a setback, they were still very powerful. Therefore, he left all the masters of the war god technique here. However, he called Luo Bingshan through the Beast Slave imprint and had her bring a few reliable 5-star assassins. With these people by his side, they would definitely be a formidable force. After that, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon left the palace of Ares and flew towards Sinmu College. On the way, the Crimson Dragon asked curiously, Boy, you haven't told me what fun places there are in your hometown? Lin Xian was helpless. He thought for a moment and said, Do you still remember the first time we met? Why are you bringing this up? The Crimson Dragon looked unhappy. If it weren't for you, how could I have lost my dragon essence? How could I have fallen to such a state? Ugh. Lin Xian was speechless. He didn't expect to bring up the sad past of the Crimson Dragon. so he quickly changed the topic. Wasn't there a black dragon that time? He was in my hometown. What? You're talking about that black guy? And Hong was interested. He snorted coldly. Who does that guy think he is? He actually dares to call himself a dragon? He's just a mixed-blood black dragon. What's there to be proud of? Boy, is he really in your hometown? Then I must go. This time, I must beat him up. He is indeed in my hometown. Moreover, this guy has established a demon sect and is wantonly slaughtering in the Tianan region. I'm going back this time to destroy him. There's such a thing. The Crimson Dragon was furious. Don't worry. Bin Huang could send him flying with a slapback then. It won't be a problem this time. Lin Xian sighed. But according to the news I received, that guy seems to have broken through to the King Realm. What? King Realm? The Crimson Dragon glared. He's a mixed blood dragon, and he can break through? Hearing this, he was very unhappy because his cultivation had dropped. Although he had recovered a lot during this period, he was still unable to fight against a King Realm. You plan to attack a King Realm expert this time? At the same time, he was also very shocked, because it seemed that Lin Xian was really going to attack a King Realm expert. Although you have the Dragon Sword Soul, you can't defeat a King Realm expert. After all, a King Realm expert has already surpassed the Venerable Realm and has his own domain. We'll talk about it when the time comes. Maybe he'll break through again. Moreover, according to what I know, that guy should have taken something to break through to the King Realm. The two of them quickly conversed as they flew through the air like lightning. Half a month later, they finally returned to the Blood Realm. Another 3 days later, they arrived at Sinma College. However, before they entered the college, Lin Xian frowned in the mountains near the college, because he saw two figures confronting each other in the air. The terrifying aura pressed down on the countless demon beasts below, causing them to prostrate on the ground and tremble. The person on the left was dressed in a black robe with red patterns on it. He wore a golden mask on his face that flickered with a dazzling light under the sun. His entire body was covered in cold killing intent, and the terrifying killing intent distorted the surrounding space. The person on the other side was a woman. She wore a long purple dress and had a beautiful face. Her temperament was even more ethereal, and she was like a fairy. Countless strands of purple energy surged above her jade-like palm. They were like purple, auspicious clouds that emitted a terrifying and shocking aura. The two beautiful women confronted each other in the air. Their terrifying auras collided in the air, causing crackling sounds of thunder. Just as the two of them were about to fight, Lin Xian quickly flew over and shouted, "Stop! They're on our side." It turned out that the two people in front of him were Luo Bingshan and Murong Qingqing. For some reason, the two of them had encountered each other and were confronting each other. Although Lin Xian didn't know the reason, he definitely couldn't let them fight, so he quickly stepped forward to stop them. Murong Qingqing was delighted when she saw Lin Xian fly over. However, when she heard that he was on her side, she immediately raised her eyebrows and snorted angrily. "What did you say? Who's on her side?" The Crimson Dragon laughed wildly at the side. "Ha ha ha, boy, that girl is jealous." Lin Xian smiled bitterly. Just as he was about to explain something, Luo Bingshan bowed respectfully in the distance. "Greetings, master." "Master? What master?" Murong Qingqing's figure flashed and arrived beside Lin Xian. At the same time, her slender jade-like hand pinched the flesh on Lin Xian's waist. "When did you receive such a beautiful servant? Why didn't I know about it?" Murong Qingqing was filled with jealousy as she pinched Lin Xian fiercely. Lin Xian gritted his teeth and almost cried out in pain. However, he knew that Murong Qingqing was jealous. He immediately laughed and pulled her into his arms. "Well, I'll tell you about it when I have time." When Lin Xian hugged her, Murong Qingqing's face turned red. She warned him, but she didn't struggle. She said, "You're always so worrisome. You just killed Prince Lingfeng, and you still dare to strut around outside. Aren't you afraid of the Duan family's revenge?" "Hee, aren't I back now?" Lin Xian smiled slightly and let go of Murong Qingqing. Then, he said, "Let's go to Starpoint Peak." Chapter 1319. Then, The group flew towards Star Point Peak like a shooting star. At this moment, Star Point Peak was very quiet. The Ninth Elder and the others had gone back. Wang Li and the others were also cultivating in the college, so there was no one on the mountain. However, Lin Xian didn't mind at all. With a flash of his body, he brought everyone down and walked into his cave abode. Qingqing, why are you here? Is there something urgent? Lin Xian asked. Can't I see you if there's nothing urgent? No, it's because I have to go out soon. I'm afraid I won't be back for a while. Go out? Where are you going? Murong Qingqing asked. Tianan region, my hometown. I have some urgent matters to attend to, Lin Xian said. Is she going too? Murong Qingqing glanced at Luo Bingshan beside her. Yes, she's going with me. Lin Xian did not hide it. Then I'll go too. Murong Qingqing said quickly after she heard that Luo Bingshan was going too. She glared at Lin Xian and said quickly, Don't mess around. Lin Xian walked to Murong Qingqing and comforted her. I really have something urgent to attend to this time. I'm afraid I'll get into a conflict with a king. It's too dangerous for you to go. Why don't you stay here and wait for me to come back? A conflict with a king? Is there a king in Tianan region? This time, Murong Qingqing was really stunned. As far as she knew, Tianan region's martial arts were not developed. It was impossible for a king to exist. It's hard to explain it in a short time. In short, a king has appeared there. Lin Xian shook his head. All the more reason for me to go. How can I let you take the risk by yourself? Murong Qingqing said, Besides, I'm not a burden. In terms of strength, I'm stronger than him. Murong Qingqing glanced at Luo Bingshan again. Indeed, Murong Qingqing's strength was not weaker than Luo Bingshan's, and as the little princess of the House of Kings, she had countless life-saving means in her hands. In addition, Lin Xian also had a king's killing formation. So, as long as he didn't face the Black Dragon sect's leader, there shouldn't be much of a problem. All right. In the end, Lin Xian nodded in agreement. On Luo Bingshan's side, in addition to herself, there were also 3 5-star assassins. These 3 5-star assassins were extremely loyal, and they were definitely reliable. Moreover, their cultivation levels were already at the 9th heaven, and they could even assassinate 9th heaven peak stage cultivators. It could be said that he was incomparably powerful. As the head venerate, Luo Bingshan had the strength to assassinate a half-step king. Therefore, although Lin Xian didn't bring many people with him, every one of them was a peerless expert. The next question was how to get to the southern heaven region. He couldn't possibly fly there on foot. That would be too tiring and would take too much time. Lin Xian's gaze turned and finally fixed on the Crimson Dragon. He chuckled. Ruzalong, why don't you carry us there? Don't even think about it. Brat, I won't become your mount. The Crimson Dragon shook its head and bared its fangs. Forget it. I'll go to the academy and ask. Lin Xian shrugged and prepared to go to Sinmu College to ask. He remembered that the True Spirit Palace seemed to sell spirit boats. His figure flickered, and he flew toward the True Spirit Palace. Soon, Lin Xian arrived above the True Spirit Palace and quickly descended. When the surrounding Sinmu College disciples saw Lin Xian, they immediately screamed. Lin Xian, it's Lin Xian. It's really him. I heard that he killed Prince Lingfeng. He's definitely my idol. He's so handsome. The surrounding disciples screamed, and Lin Xian was also surprised. He didn't expect to be so famous among these disciples. Even the law-enforcing elder in the True Spirit Palace quickly came out and welcomed Lin Xian inside. This caused an even greater commotion among the surrounding disciples. One had to know that it was always the disciples who entered the True Spirit Palace respectfully. They had never seen an elder come out to welcome them. Lin Xian was definitely the first person to welcome Sinmu College since its opening. Elder, I want to buy a spirit boat, the highest grade one. Lin Xian didn't beat around the bush and directly stated his purpose. The best spirit boat here is a half-Earth rank artifact, but it contains the remains of an Earth rank artifact. Soon, the True Spirit Palace elder found the information about the spirit boat and handed it to Lin Xian. Lin Xian glanced at it and found that it was very good in all aspects, especially its speed. Moreover, it contained a fragment of an Earth rank artifact, which could be said to be extremely powerful and of the highest grade at present. Okay, I'll take it. Lin Xian used a newly acquired Earth rank technique to exchange for the spirit boat. The spirit boat was green all over, and exquisite inscriptions covered the entire body of the boat. When not in use, it was only the size of a palm, but once spiritual power was injected, it would become a huge spirit boat that was 500 meters long. Lin Xian took the spirit boat with satisfaction and returned to Stellar Point Peak. Next, he and the Crimson Dragon began to modify the spirit boat, mainly adding some powerful defensive formations to strengthen the body of the boat. The process was carried out while flying. Because of the urgency of the matter, Lin Xian left with the group after receiving the spirit boat. During the flight, he and the Crimson Dragon began to work on the defensive formations. Murong Qingqing, Luo Bingshan, and the others were also cultivating to prepare for the upcoming battle. The spirit boat was very strange. It could reach a maximum of 500 meters, but there were not many people now, so it could only be a few dozen meters long. Its speed was as fast as lightning, and it was very fast. Chapter 1320. Kid, that should be the Tianan region you were talking about. The Crimson Dragon looked ahead and said in a deep voice, Indeed, it's not a boundless sea, but a vast land. Murong Qingqing also looked ahead and frowned. He could clearly feel that the spirit veins and spirit qi in this land were far inferior to those in the Tianwu continent. This was also why the warriors in the Tianan region were not as strong as those in the Tianwu continent. The environment here was not good. However, a king had appeared here. This was too unbelievable. One had to know that there had not been a new king in the Tianwu continent for 1,000 years. One could imagine how difficult it was to become a king. However, a king had appeared in this remote Tianan region. It had to be said that this was simply too inconceivable. The blood qi below is very thick. It seems that many people have died in this land, Luo Bingshan said coldly. Indeed, Lin Xian and the others had just entered the Tianan region when they felt the blood qi below. It should be formed by the blood of the dead warriors. Because it contained resentment, it did not dissipate for a long time. Let's go back to the Xia country first. Lin Xian's expression was serious as he quickly changed the direction of the spirit boat. He wanted to go back and save the Lin family before considering how to deal with the Black Dragon sect. The Tianwu Kingdom was once a big country in the Tianan region. The elixirs here were very developed. There were many forces like the Medicine King Valley, the Elixir Garden, and the Alchemy Guild. However, at this moment, the entire Tianshan Kingdom was lifeless. Even the air was filled with a thick aura of despair. It turned out that the Alchemy Guild, the largest force in the Tianwu Kingdom, had been overthrown. Now, there was a large black flag on top of the original building. There was a black dragon waving its fangs and claws in the wind. The people who lived in this building were not alchemists, but martial artists dressed in black robes. Every one of them had a thick, bloody aura around them. It seemed that they had killed many people. That was why they had such a thick, murderous aura. One of them, a bald man, sat boldly at the top of the table. His physique was strong and his blood was vigorous. His entire body emitted a strong aura. The surrounding warriors looked at the bald man with envy in their eyes. This was because the bald man was a venerable, and a fourth heaven venerable at that. Although such a person was nothing in the Tianwu continent, in the Tianan region, he was an extremely powerful existence. When Lin Xian left the Tianan region, the strongest faction in the entire Tianan region, the Martial Ming Alliance, only had 13 supremacies. Including some hidden powerhouses, there were only a few dozen venerables in the entire Tianan region. The others were all martial artists of the 3 spirit realms. Back then, the strongest person in Tianshan country was only in the spirit detecting realm. Compared to venerable ones, they were worlds apart. Therefore, they could not contend against them at all. Therefore, it didn't take long for the entire heavenly mountain kingdom to fall. At this moment, the bald man said with a ferocious expression, "This group of damned old men, are they itching for a beating recently? Why is the speed of refining pills so slow? Go, teach them a lesson for me. Let them know about the Black Dragon sect. We can't waste a single second. Boss, It's not that we don't want to use our methods. It's just that those old men are too stubborn. Especially that old man called de Quebec. He's like a stubborn donkey. He won't cooperate with us at all. I think we should just kill him. We can use him to intimidate the entire Tianshan country. Old man DK? You mean that person from the Medicine King Valley? The bald man sneered. I remember him. Last time, he didn't even give me face. If it wasn't for the fact that he's good at refining pills, I would have killed him with my blade. But now, it seems that we can't let him live. How about this? We'll execute him in front of everyone tomorrow. It'll intimidate the entire Tianshan country. I don't believe that those alchemists will dare to resist our Black Dragon sect. Yes. In the main hall, the warriors under him moved quickly. There were venerables among them, but most of them were only in the spirit-detecting realm. However, with the venerables around, dealing with the alchemists of Tianshan country was a piece of cake. On the other side of Tianshan country, countless alchemists were trapped in a valley, refining pills day and night. In the depths of the valley, there were more than 10 white-haired old men. These people were the best alchemists in Tianshan country. Among them, the president of the Alchemy Guild, the pavilion master of the Pill King Garden, Old Man DK from the Medicine King Valley, and some elders were all here. In the past, the Medicine King Valley and the Pill King Garden were fighting to the death. But now, there was no hatred between them, because they were all prisoners. These people all had injuries on their bodies, but they weren't fatal. They must have been left behind when they resisted the Black Dragon sect. Damn the Black Dragon sect, they're too despicable. They're actually keeping me as a slave to refine pills for them. One of the old men clenched his fists, trembling with anger. So what if they're angry? There are many venerables among them, and the highest among us is only in the spirit-detecting realm. We can't resist it all. Many people were in despair because the difference in strength between the two sides was too great. It was like the difference between heaven and earth. Damn it, I don't believe it. How did they get so many venerables overnight? This is impossible. Yeah, although the Black Dragon sect was strong in the past, they could only fight against the Martial Alliance. They couldn't be so strong. Otherwise, the Tianan region would have fallen a few hundred years ago. Everyone gritted their teeth, very confused. The president of the Alchemy Guild also sighed. I've received news that a type of crystal was found in Xia country. It can greatly increase a warrior's cultivation in an instant. I think those people from the Black Dragon sect must have used this kind of crystal to have such a cultivation. Hearing this, everyone sighed. The rise of the Black Dragon sect had only been less than a year. Although the Black Dragon sect had recovered, they had the Martial Alliance on their side. In addition to other large and small forces, both sides had been in a stalemate. But in less than a year, the Black Dragon sect's strength suddenly increased rapidly, and a large number of venerables appeared. Not to mention them, even the Martial Alliance couldn't resist. So, in just half a year, the entire Tianan region was instantly controlled by the Black Dragon sect. And these people were also reduced to prisoners, refining pills for the Black Dragon sect's disciples all day long. Xia country? An old man sighed. This reminds me of someone. I wonder how he's doing. Old man DK, why are you still lamenting at a time like this? Someone sighed. With his talent, he should be able to survive this battle. Old man DK whispered again. Old man DK, who are you talking about? Who is it that you can't forget at this time? Everyone asked. Chapter 1321. With his talent, he should be able to survive this battle. DK whispered again. Old DK, who are you talking about? Who is it that you can't forget at this time? Everyone asked. Do you remember that a few years ago, there was a young man from the Great Xia who won first place in our Tianshan Kingdom's Elixir King competition? Now that you mention it, I do remember him. Many elders nodded. The president of the Alchemy Guild was even more surprised. Are you talking about that young man called Lin Xian? With the president of the Alchemy Guild's reminder, the elders around him all remembered. There was indeed a young man who had won first place in the Elixir King competition back then, but in the end, everyone sighed. So what if he was first place back then? In this world, it's not certain if he can survive. Everyone shook their heads, and DK sighed as well. He was once the Valley Master of the Medicine King Valley and had received help from Lin Xian. His leg was cured by Lin Xian. Now, he only hoped that Lin Xian could survive. Just as they were talking, there was a commotion in front of them. Several lights flashed in the void like lightning and instantly arrived above the valley. What? It's the people from the Black Dragon sect. They're here again. All the alchemists in the valley looked up. When they saw the warriors in black robes, they trembled in fear. The president of the Alchemy Guild also frowned. That's not right. It's not the day to hand over the elixir yet. Why are these people here early? Is there something else? 3 people floated in the void. One of them was a man with triangular eyes. He shouted coldly, "DK, get over here." Hearing this, the other alchemists trembled. The president of the Alchemy Guild looked even more gloomy. Among them, the president of the Alchemy Guild stood out and said in a low voice, "Why are you looking for DK? Who are you to speak here? Get lost." The man with triangular eyes roared ferociously. He stretched out a huge palm and slapped the president of the Alchemy Guild away. Boom! The Alchemy Guild master flew backward and crashed into the mountain wall behind him, making a violent trembling sound. Then, he fell to the ground and vomited blood. The triangular-eyed man sneered. "Do you think you're some kind of president? How dare you show off in front of me? Remember, you are now slaves, a bunch of dogs. You can only wag your tail at me." "DK, you old geezer, did you come here on your own? Or do you want me to take you back?" The triangular-eyed man had a ferocious look on his face as his cold gaze locked onto the ground below. The triangular-eyed man had a strong aura. He was already at the first heaven of the venerable realm. The strongest alchemists in the valley were only at the spirit detecting realm, and most of them were only at the spirit transformation realm, so they couldn't resist this aura at all. DK also sighed. "Don't attack my companions anymore. I'll go with you." Seeing that he had intimidated these alchemists, the triangular-eyed man revealed a satisfied smile. Then, he waved his hand, and the 2 men behind him immediately stepped forward. They took out 2 iron chains and quickly threw them out. The chain was like a venomous snake. It instantly wrapped around DK's body and dropped him into the sky. Seeing this, the surrounding people felt despair, and the disciples of the Medicine King Valley were even more furious. DK was their valley master, and he was being humiliated like this. However, although they were angry, they didn't dare to say anything because they didn't have the strength to fight against the Black Dragon sect. If they rashly went up, they would only be courting death. On the other hand, the triangular-eyed man had a look of resentment. He hung DK in the air, and then his cold voice resounded in all directions. "DK has gone against the Black Dragon sect many times, and he still doesn't repent. So now, the Black Dragon sect will punish him." At this point, the triangular-eyed man's smile became even more ferocious. "Tomorrow at noon, we will execute him in the Pill King Square. Whoever dares to go against the Black Dragon sect will end up like this." "What? Execution?" Hearing this, the entire valley was shocked, especially the disciples of the Medicine King Valley, who let out cries of despair. Alchemists were different from ordinary warriors. Once they were captured, they were basically enslaved to refined pills. It was rare for them to be executed. This was especially so for alchemists like D. Quebec. Because of their high level, they were rarely executed. But now, the other party wanted to execute him. It had to be said that this was beyond everyone's expectations. Haha, what's there to be surprised about? He's just a spirit-detecting alchemist. At most, he can refine some pills for ordinary sect members. Do you really think that the higher-ups of the Black Dragon sect need your pills? Seeing the commotion, the triangular-eyed man sneered disdainfully. Hearing this, everyone felt a sense of despair. Indeed, the pills they refined were for the disciples of the Black Dragon sect. The pills above supremacy were all provided by the Divine Pill Hall, one of the 8 halls of the Black Dragon sect. Therefore, in the eyes of the Black Dragon sect, DK was not important at all. Take him away. Tomorrow, I'll cut him up piece by piece. With that, the 2 burly men carried DK and quickly left the valley. Damn it! Damn it! The Alchemy Guild president got up from the ground. Ignoring his injuries, he hammered the ground fiercely. The others also had looks of despair. Soon, the news that DK was going to be executed spread throughout the entire Tianshan country, causing an uproar in Tianshan country. Before this, DK was a famous alchemist master in Tianshan country. Now, however, he was going to be executed. The next day, the Elixir King Square was packed with people. DK was nailed to the void by 5 chains. Once the time was up, the disciples of the Black Dragon sect would attack him. At that moment, a huge spirit boat flew over quickly in the sky. It was Lin Xian's spirit boat. Ever since he arrived in the Tianan region, he had been unable to calm down. Especially the places he had passed through in the past few days, they were all places he had stayed in before. Tianshan country should be below, Lin Xian muttered as he looked at the ground below. Why are there so many people gathered below? Is there something going on? The Crimson Dragon looked down with a puzzled expression. Lin Xian also looked down. Soon, he frowned and even a hint of anger appeared on his face. Murong Qingcheng and the falling ice mountain also noticed what was happening below. Seeing Lin Xian's terrible expression, Murong Qingcheng asked with concern, "What's wrong?" Lin Xian did not speak. He controlled the spirit boat and let it float in the sky. Then, he said in a deep voice, "Wait here first. I'll go down and take care of something." After saying that, his body swayed and flew down quickly like a peerless divine sword. Chapter 1322. Lin Xian's body swayed, and like a peerless divine sword, he quickly flew down. Let's go and watch the show. When the Crimson Dragon saw Lin Xian going down, it waved its dragon claws and controlled the spiritual boat to fly down. It had set up many formations on the spiritual boat. Apart from defense, there were also formations to hide its aura. Therefore, at this moment, it controlled the spiritual boat to quickly shrink and float in the air. As long as it wanted to, the people below would definitely not notice them. This was perfect for them to watch from a close distance. Below, countless people gathered in the Elixir King Square. These people were all martial artists from the Tianshan Kingdom. At this moment, they were looking ahead angrily. At the front, DK was hung in midair. His body was covered in wounds. It seemed that he had suffered a lot of torture last night. Beside him stood the triangular-eyed man with a shiny long saber in his hand. It seemed that he was the executioner today. The triangular-eyed man looked at the time and felt that it was about time. He immediately tightened his grip on the long saber in his hand. The other party's ferocious voice was also heard. "Don't worry, I won't kill you all at once. I'll skin you alive piece by piece. I want everyone to know the consequences of resisting the Black Dragon sect." As soon as he finished speaking, a saber light flashed and the long saber ruthlessly slashed DK's body. Immediately, blood spurted out and dyed the sky red. The triangular-eyed man was a first heaven supremacy after all. He had very precise control of his strength. Therefore, when the saber slashed DK's body, it was painful, but it did not threaten his life at all. When the people in the square saw this scene, they immediately clenched their fists. Countless people were furious and wanted to rush up, but they were firmly stopped by the people from the Black Dragon sect. The Black Dragon sect was extremely powerful now, so the martial artists in the square could not resist at all. They could only watch as DK was executed. The triangular-eyed man slashed with his saber and laughed sinisterly. In the next moment, the long saber in his hand fell again. However, at this moment, the sky suddenly darkened as if dark clouds had covered the sun. At this moment, everyone subconsciously looked up at the sky. Then, their expressions changed drastically as if they had seen the most terrifying thing. Even the martial artists from the Black Dragon sect were frightened and trembling all over. The triangular-eyed man's face was even paler, and the long saber in his hand stopped in midair. Because in the sky above, a huge palm was rapidly pressing down. The palm blotted out the sky like a huge black mountain, causing the entire void to collapse. This palm was too terrifying. It was like the hand of a demon god, causing everyone to suffocate. The triangular-eyed man was even more terrified because he realized that the palms seemed to be coming for him. Scram! Gritting his teeth, the triangular-eyed man roared and slashed out with the long saber in his hand. In an instant, it turned into a bolt of lightning and slashed toward the void. As a first-rank venerable, he had always been high and mighty in the heavenly mountain kingdom. No one could stop him. But now, he realized that he was wrong. This was because the saber light he had slashed out had not caused any damage to the black palm at all. Not only that, but it was also easily torn apart. Soon, the palm arrived before him. Boom! His palm slammed into the ground, instantly enveloping the area where the triangular-eyed man was. The ground sank, and countless cracks appeared in the square, spreading in all directions. The triangular-eyed man was turned into a pile of rotten meat and couldn't be more dead. A pitch-black crater appeared on the ground, and the pungent smell of blood gradually spread in all directions. What? Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. They did not expect the triangular-eyed man to die just like that. He was killed by a single palm. It was too unbelievable. One had to know that in their eyes, a first-rank venerable was a godlike existence that could not be resisted. However, such a person had been killed so easily. Who did it? So powerful. The Black Dragon cult warriors were both shocked and furious as they looked at the sky. Who is it? Get out here. How dare you attack a member of the Black Dragon cult? You're dead meat. An old man roared crazily. He was also a member of the Black Dragon cult, and his strength was on par with the triangular-eyed man. However, at this moment, he was extremely terrified because he did not see who it was. However, in the next moment, everyone was shocked because a figure quickly descended from the sky. It was a young man with a handsome face. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and his entire body emitted a powerful aura. His gaze was like a sword light, causing everyone to tremble. It's you. You were the one who attacked just now. The old man from the Black Dragon cult gritted his teeth and asked. Although he was also afraid of the other party's strength, he could not embarrass the Black Dragon cult in front of so many people. Men, attack. Kill him. Immediately, countless warriors rushed into the sky. Many of them were first-rank venerables, and there were also countless fifth-rank spirit-detecting realm cultivators. There were hundreds of them densely packed together. There were so many experts in the square. One could imagine that the Black Dragon cult strength was above the entire Tianan region. However, these people were nothing in Lin Xian's eyes. Lin Xian stood in the air and did not attack at all. He only snorted coldly. However, this voice contained an endless murderous aura and pressure. Immediately, the hundreds of cultivators who flew over from all directions exploded and died. Bang, 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 bang. A series of explosions sounded. One by one, the warriors exploded into a bloody mist. The pungent smell of blood instantly filled the square. What? They're dead. The entire square was dumbfounded. There was not a single sound. What kind of method was that? Just a voice alone caused hundreds of warriors to explode and die. There was no resistance at all? One had to know that there were many venerables. This method was too heaven-defying. It was simply a divine skill. The black-robed old man's scalp went numb. He screamed as if he had gone crazy. Who are you? Who are you? He was scared. He was really scared. This was because even their hall master did not have such a method. However, the other party, a young man who was only about 20 years old, had such a heaven-defying method. He did not dare to resist at all. Lin Xian did not say anything. With a flick of his finger, a sword chi rushed out and pierced through the old man like lightning. Poof! The black-robed old man's glabella was stabbed, and he fell to the ground, dead. He died with doubts. He did not know who the mysterious young man in front of him was. Run! The surviving disciples of the Black Dragon cult were terrified. Many of them even went crazy. In the face of such combat strength, they could not resist at all. They could only turn around and run. However, Lin Xian did not plan to let them go at all. These people were too evil. He did not know how many people they had killed. Therefore, he stretched out his 5 fingers and shot out hundreds of sword chi. Each of them turned into a long rainbow and accurately killed the remaining warriors of the Black Dragon cult. In an instant, hundreds of people were cut in half. Their corpses fell to the ground. The entire Elixir King Square was dyed red. It was like hell on earth. Chapter 1323. None of the warriors in the square were frightened. Instead, they clenched their fists and looked extremely excited. They looked at Lin Xian as if they were looking at a god. Their eyes were filled with endless admiration and gratitude. Lin Xian was their savior. The dead Black Dragon sect disciples were demons and deserved to be killed. Many of them could not control their anger. They took out their swords and slashed at the corpses on the ground. More than one person did that. One could imagine how many sins the Black Dragon sect had committed in Tianshan country and even the entire Tianan region. Meanwhile, in the void, DK, who was hanging by countless chains, was completely stunned. He had thought that today would be his doomsday and did not plan to live anymore. He would rather die than live a hellish life. However, what he didn't expect was that at the moment before his death, a shocking change occurred. A handsome young man with fluttering black hair killed the triangular-eyed man with one punch. He also killed hundreds of Black Dragon sect disciples in an instant. It was like a legend to him. However, when he saw the young man's face, he was even more shocked. He was completely stunned. Although almost 5 years had passed and the young man had grown up, he could still vaguely see the young man's face. Lin Xian, you're Lin Xian. DK trembled with excitement. 2 streams of tears flowed down from his old eyes. He did not expect the godlike person who had descended on the square to save him was Lin Xian. Yesterday, he was still lamenting how he missed Lin Xian. He did not expect Lin Xian to really appear today. Could it be that the heavens had sent him to save Tianshan country? Lin Xian looked at the old figure in the sky and felt extremely emotional. A few years ago, he had treated the old man's leg. Not only that, he was also very familiar with the Elixir King Square. This was where he had won first place in the Elixir King tournament and obtained the White Dragon Soaring Elixir. It was because of that elixir that he had the Great Dragon Sword Soul. It could be said that this was a very important turning point for him. His gaze condensed into 2 rays of sword light that shot into the sky, instantly shattering the chains. Following this, Lin Xian waved his hand and DK landed beside him. Lin Xian, it's really you. DK trembled with excitement as he watched the miraculous scene unfold before him. It's me. Lin Xian nodded and took out a pill from his storage ring. Don't say anything. Take this pill. After receiving the pill, DK was even more shocked. Just from the fragrance alone, he knew that this was definitely a divine medicine. Perhaps even the Divine Pill Hall, one of the 8 great halls of the Black Dragon cult, would not be able to refine such a pill. However, looking at Lin Xian's appearance, he seemed very casual and normal. Could it be that he had so many precious medicinal pills in his hands? DK was very confused, but he still swallowed it quickly. In the next moment, his entire body began to tremble because he could clearly feel that all the injuries on his body had healed. Not only that, but his damaged body had also instantly recovered to its peak. What kind of pill is this? It's too miraculous. Looking at the excited DK, Lin Xian sighed inside. This was just an ordinary Tier 7 medicinal pill, but in these people's eyes, it was a divine medicine. It seemed they really hadn't had a good time these past few years. Although DK was excited, he didn't forget about the important matter at hand. He hastily grabbed Lin Xian and said, Lin Xian, hurry and save the Heavenly Mountain Empire. Originally, he had already despaired, feeling that there was no hope for him and his empire. But now, Lin Xian's appearance gave him hope once more. Where is the main force of your Heavenly Mountain Empire locked up? Asked Lin Xian. Since he's already here, he will naturally help these people. However, his time was limited, and he couldn't save all the Heavenly Mountain Empire's martial artists. So he had his own idea. That was to save the Heavenly Mountain Empire's peak martial artists and then have them save themselves. Seeing Lin Xian agree, DK was also excited. He quickly said, They're all in Pill Valley. Yes, the Heavenly Mountain Empire's medicinal pills were flourishing, so those alchemy grandmasters were the strongest martial artists in the city. As for those people, they were currently locked up in Pill Valley and had to refine medicinal pills for the Black Dragon cult to use. All right, then let's go to Pill Valley. Point me in the right direction. After saying that, Lin Xian's body glowed with a dazzling light that enveloped Quebec. Then, he turned into a beam of sword radiance and charged into the distance. As for the Heavenly Mountain Empire's martial artists in the plaza, they were constantly kowtowing in the direction Lin Xian had left. DK was too shocked. That speed was too fast. He had never seen anything like it. If it weren't for Lin Xian's light protecting him, just that speed alone would be enough to tear his body apart. He didn't dare to imagine just what realm Lin Xian had reached. He was definitely at the Venerable Realm. As for what heaven stage he was at, he didn't know. The two of them quickly arrived near Pill Valley. DK pointed to a mountain valley in front of them. That is Pill Valley. All of the Heavenly Mountain Empire's medicinal pills are imprisoned there. However, the Black Dragon cult's troops are guarding it. There's no way to charge in. There are quite a few venerables among them. There are even third heaven stage venerables. Before DK could finish speaking, he saw Lin Xian striding forward. Lin Gongzi, be careful. There are third heaven stage venerables ahead, warned DK from behind. In his view, third heaven stage venerables were already incredible existences, far surpassing the triangular-eyed man from before. So he had to be careful. He had even thought of a plan to sneak in, but now it seemed Lin Xian wasn't planning on being careful at all. He was like a war god, rapidly walking through the air. His terrifying voice shook the surroundings like thunder. As expected, Lin Xian's actions drew the attention of the Black Dragon cult's people near Pill Valley. Two small squads quickly flew over. These two squads each had 30 people. The captains were first heaven stage venerables, and there were quite a few half-step venerables and peak spirit detecting experts. Who are you? How dare you cause trouble here? Hurry up and kneel, or you'll die without a corpse, shouted the two first heaven stage venerables. However, Lin Xian's expression was ice cold. He raised his hands and clenched them. Those two first heaven stage venerables were sucked over. What? The distant Black Dragon cult's disciples were shocked. The two first heaven stage venerables were horrified. They did their best to struggle, but it was useless. In the next moment, they were sucked into Lin Xian's hands. Lin Xian, on the other hand, gripped their necks tightly with both hands. Crack! Two crisp sounds were heard, and then the two men's necks bent as they died. Lin Xian casually tossed them aside. Chapter 1324. Take their storage rings, Lin Xian said to the people behind him. DK was completely dumbfounded. Although he had seen Lin Xian's power before, he was still shocked to see it again. Only when Lin Xian reminded him did he come back to his senses and quickly take the two venerable storage rings. As for the Black Dragon cult disciples in the distance, although they didn't know who Lin Xian was, they felt their scalps go numb when they saw how easily he killed their captains. They knew that this was an expert, so they quickly retreated to report it. But in the next moment, two sword lights flew out of Lin Xian's hands and enveloped the two groups of cultivators. Bloody mist exploded, and those cultivators were cut to pieces. Only their storage rings floated in the air. During this entire process, Lin Xian didn't stop at all. He continued to walk through the air. In an instant, the two groups were completely wiped out. DK, who was behind Lin Xian, was extremely excited. He followed Lin Xian and searched through the storage rings in the air. Lin Xian had no intention of hiding himself at all, so it didn't take long for another Black Dragon cult martial practitioner to discover him. However, those people's fates were the same as before. They were killed by Lin Xian's sword. Not good. The enemy is too strong. Hurry and retreat. The other Black Dragon cult disciples all fled. As for Lin Xian, a ball of black flames flew out of his eyes, forming a black sea of flames. Those fleeing cultivators were all burned to ashes. Shock. Absolute shock. In an instant, over 100 Black Dragon cult disciples were killed. As for the alchemists in Pill Valley, They also noticed the battle in the sky and immediately let out startled cries. What's going on? Someone's attacking the Black Dragon cult. Who is it? They killed hundreds of Black Dragon cult disciples in an instant. Is it someone from the Martial Alliance? The alchemists below were shocked. The Pill Alliance's head and the other elders were also shocked. They saw DK in the air. It's Old Man DK, shouted the Pill Alliance's head. What? DK, that old bastard. Wasn't he killed? How is he still alive? The surrounding people also had mixed feelings. However, when they saw Old Man DK flying over with a young man, they were all excited. Old Monster DK, are you all right? That's great. Those old men were extremely excited, and the surrounding alchemist also cheered. This is? The president of the Pill Alliance and the others looked at Lin Xian because they clearly saw that the young man in front of them had killed all the warriors of the Black Dragon cult. Lin Xian, he's Lin Xian, the young man who won the Pill King tournament back then. Old Man DK quickly said. Lin Xian. Hearing this, everyone was shocked and stood rooted to the ground, because just yesterday, they were still talking about that young man, and many people were still sighing. However, he had not expected that the other party would appear today. Moreover, he had appeared in such a powerful manner. With a raise of his hand, he had killed several hundred Black Dragon cult cultivators. This method was simply too heaven-defying. Lin Xian, it's really Lin Xian. Oh my god, I'm not dreaming, am I? Lin Gongzi, are you from the Martial Alliance? Everyone was excited. However, Lin Xian shook his head slightly. I'm not from the Martial Alliance, but I came back this time to deal with the Black Dragon cult. Hearing Lin Xian's words, everyone was excited. At that moment, a cold snort came from behind. Deal with the Black Dragon cult? What arrogance! Young man, you're the one who killed my subordinates. How dare you kill the people of the Black Dragon cult? I advise you to obediently kneel down and accept your death. Otherwise, I'll make you regret it. A cruel voice was heard, and immediately, the expressions of everyone in the valley changed. This was because they were extremely familiar with this voice. It was the Honorable who was watching over them. The other party was a deacon of the Ravengale Hall. His cultivation was at the third heaven of the Honorable Realm, and he could be said to be extremely powerful. At this moment, seeing the other party rushing over aggressively, those alchemists all trembled. Lin Xian also turned around and coldly raised his head. As expected, there was a large man in the sky behind him. His muscles bulged, and his aura was extremely powerful. He was at the third heaven of the Honorable Realm. Behind him stood 8 martial artists, all of whom were at the second sky of the Honorable Realm. It was no wonder these alchemists were so afraid. With this person's power, killing all of them would be as easy as flipping a hand. However, now that Lin Xian had arrived, the situation had changed. Lin Xian looked at the sky and said coldly, all of you, kneel by the side and wait for my orders. What? The alchemists of Pill Valley were all dumbfounded. They didn't dare to imagine that a youth would dare to say such words to a third heaven honorable. Was he not afraid of death? It had to be known that this was a third heaven honorable. He wasn't one of those first heaven honorables from before. Even the Pill Alliance's head and the other seniors' expressions changed. There were even quite a few people who hastily sent messages to Lin Xian to flee. Of those people, only DK's expression remained the same. He was already numb to this. As for the Black Dragon cult's honorables behind him, they began to crazily laugh at Lin Xian's words. What did you say? You want us to kneel to the side? Wait for your orders? Brat, I have to say, you're the first person I've seen in all these years who dares to say such words. Don't worry, I'll give you some special treatment in a bit. You actually dare to say such words to us? You really don't know life from death. Brat, kneel on the ground and break your own arms. Cripple your own martial arts, and I'll leave you with an intact corpse. Otherwise, I'll make sure you die without a burial ground. The group of people roared furiously, and the ferocious man at the front had a sinister expression. However, Lin Xian just stood there with his hands clasped behind his back, a disdainful smile on his face. Although he didn't say anything, That disdainful smile made the Black Dragon cult's people go crazy. For the past year, they had seen the fearful looks of others. They had never seen such a mocking expression. Therefore, those people couldn't stand it at all. In the next moment, the ferocious man at the front roared and quickly charged at Lin Xian. Although he was huge, he arrived in front of Lin Xian in an instant. Boom! With a single punch, even the void exploded. The terrifying power was like a ferocious beast that quickly rushed toward Lin Xian. Oh no! Retreat! The Alchemy Guild's president and the surrounding elders all had a drastic change in expression as they frantically retreated. The alchemists around them closed their eyes, unable to bear to watch. Even DK's scalp went numb. That was because his opponent's power was too terrifying. He couldn't withstand it at all. Although he had seen Lin Xian's power, he didn't think that Lin Xian could withstand that punch. The ferocious man had a sinister smile on his face. It was as if he could already see Lin Xian being killed by that punch. Chapter 1325. Bang! In the next moment, the terrifying fist landed on Lin Xian's body with an earth-shattering sound. The entire valley trembled as countless boulders fell from the mountain. What? That's impossible. However, just as everyone was in despair, the ferocious man in front of them suddenly let out a shrill cry as if he had encountered something terrifying. Everyone's heart skipped a beat as they opened their eyes and looked ahead. Then, they were all stunned. He's fine. He's fine. Such a violent punch landed on Lin Xian's body, but he's fine. Even Lin Xian's clothes didn't change. What's going on? Everyone was dumbfounded. Even the 8 second-level supremacies behind him were dumbfounded. You. The ferocious man was even more shocked. He was very confident in his punch, as even a cultivator of the same level as him wouldn't be able to withstand it. However, nothing happened to Lin Xian. Even a 4th or 5th level supremacy wouldn't be able to do that. Who is he? How can he have such a technique? The ferocious man couldn't figure it out. However, in the next moment, he screamed in agony. That was because Lin Xian had stretched out his palm and grabbed his fist before pulling it forcefully. Crack! Crack! The arm that had landed on Lin Xian's body was immediately torn off. Blood flowed out as white bones and flesh were exposed. The ferocious man didn't expect that at all. He was in so much pain that his entire body was twisted. Kid, I'll kill you. He had never suffered such a serious injury before. Hence, he was like a crazy beast as he punched Lin Xian with his other fist. However, Lin Xian's expression was cold as he raised his palm and gently pressed it against the ferocious man's head. Boom! The ferocious man's head turned into a bloody mist in an instant. It was a real bloody mist as not even a bit of flesh was left behind. Plop! The headless body fell to the ground as blood flowed out and dyed the entire ground red. On the other hand, Lin Xian's body was spotless, as if he was an immortal who had descended to the mortal world. What? He's dead. Everyone widened their eyes in disbelief. That was a 3rd heaven honorable realm expert, a supreme expert in their eyes. However, he had been killed so easily that he did not even have the chance to fight back. For a moment, everyone looked at Lin Xian, their minds blank. They couldn't imagine what kind of strength was needed to accomplish such a feat. The elders of the Alchemy Guild were even more shocked. It was no wonder that the other party did not run away, and even had a look of disdain on his face. It turned out that a 3rd heavenly layer venerable realm expert could not even withstand a single blow from him. The 8-second sky venerables felt their scalps go numb. They knew that the young man in front of them was definitely a super expert. He wasn't someone they could contend against. Retreat. Retreat quickly. Quickly report to the Hall Master that a super expert has appeared in the Heavenly Mountain Empire. In the next moment, the 8 of them looked at each other and quickly soared into the sky, flying in 8 different directions. Oh no, we can't let them escape. The Alchemy Guild's Hall Master and the others' expressions changed. If they let them escape, they would definitely bring even more cultivators. At that time, the Heavenly Mountain Empire would be finished. However, as Lin Xian looked at the fleeing figures, the disdain on his face grew. He raised his arm and shot a sword light into the sky. Immediately, the sword light turned into 8 shooting stars that shot toward the 8 fleeing people. In the next moment, the 8 sword lights pierced through the 8 second heaven honorables and nailed their corpses to the ground. In an instant, 8 second heaven honorables had been killed. In Pill Valley, the alchemist gulped. This was too heaven-defying. Killing venerables with just a raise of his hand was something that they did not even dare to dream of. Many of them were shocked because many of them had seen Lin Xian before. At that time, he was still a youth who was inferior to them. However, in just 4 or 5 years, he had already grown to such a terrifying level. Lin Gongzi, let's go quickly. This big man is a deacon of the Ravengale Hall. There are even more experts around. If we don't leave quickly, it will be very troublesome if we are surrounded. The Alchemy Guild's Hall Master said quickly. The others nodded in agreement. This was the best opportunity for them to escape. However, Lin Xian shook his head slightly. There's no rush. Let's wait here. When everyone arrives, we'll deal with them all together. We won't have to search everywhere and waste time. What? Lin Gongzi, do you want to kill everyone? Hearing this, the alchemists' hearts pounded wildly. To tell the truth, they instinctively did not believe it. However, what had just happened deeply stimulated them. Perhaps Lin Xian could really fight against the Black Dragon cult. Lin Xian took out a few recovery pills and gave them to the Alchemy Guild's Hallmaster and the others. Old Man DK, on the other hand, led some alchemists to quickly collect the storage rings of the corpses. After taking the pills, the Alchemy Guild's Hallmaster and the others felt the changes in their bodies and immediately screamed. Heavens! What a magical pill! What grade is this? Could it be the legendary divine pill? The group of people was very excited. Lin Xian asked in a deep voice, Tell me about the situation here. Hearing this, the Alchemy Guild's Ravengale Hall Master sighed. The ones bullying us are mainly the Ravengale Hall of the Black Dragon cult. They have many venerables, but we don't have any venerables here. So even if we want to resist, we don't have the strength to do so. What about the other countries? Are they the same? Lin Xian asked again. They're all about the same. The Black Dragon cult has 8 halls, and they basically occupy the entire Tianan region. Only the Martial Alliance, some hidden families, and those young geniuses can fight against the Black Dragon cult. As for the others, they've basically all fallen. Hearing this, Lin Xian nodded and said again, When those people come later, I'll kill them. The rest will be up to you. After all, I can't stay here for too long. Seeing the alchemist's disappointment, Lin Xian said, Don't worry. I'll help you improve your strength to the Venerable Realm. What? To the Venerable Realm? Do you have that magical crystal too? This time, everyone around was excited. Crystal? What crystal? You mean the crystal that can greatly improve a martial artist's cultivation? They were too excited. If one of the contestants really had that kind of stone, they could instantly become a venerable. However, to their disappointment, Lin Xian shook his head. I don't have that kind of stone you're talking about. I have other ways to help you break through to the venerable realm. By the way, what's the crystal you mentioned? Can you tell me more about it? We don't know the details. We only know that this kind of stone suddenly appeared more than half a year ago, and it allowed the people of the Black Dragon cult to greatly improve in a short period of time. By the way, that stone seems to have come from the Xia, the Alchemy Guild's guild master said. What? The Xia? Lin Xian's expression changed. Chapter 1326. This time, Lin Xian's expression changed. This wasn't good news for him. If that thing really had come from the Great Xia, then the Great Xia's situation would be even worse than the Tianshan Empire. It seems I can't stay here. I have to return to the Great Xia. Lin Xian didn't hesitate and took out medicinal pills. Here are 8 medicinal pills. They should be enough for you to break through to the Exalted Realm. I'll go kill all the Black Dragon cult's disciples and then leave the Tianshan Empire. Without waiting for them to react, Lin Xian soared into the sky. Countless Black Dragon cult's disciples had gathered in a city very close to Pill Valley. They had long since received news that some experts had come to help Pill Valley and oppose the Black Dragon cult. At this moment, a bald man with a powerful aura was gathering the surrounding disciples to prepare a counterattack against Pill Valley. This bald man was one of the Ravengale Hall's important generals. His cultivation base had reached the fourth heaven stage of the Venerate realm. He could be said to have the highest cultivation base within the Tianshan Empire. Beside him was a white-robed youth with an evil charm. Although he was young, his aura didn't seem to be any weaker than the bald man. I didn't expect to run into such a situation as soon as I arrived. It seems the Tianshan Empire hasn't been completely tamed yet, said the evil youth. How about it? Do you need my Divine Pill Hall to take action? This white-robed youth was from the Divine Wind Hall. The Divine Pill Hall was the same as the Ravengale Hall. They were also one of the Black Dragon cult's 8 great halls. The bald man smiled. Don't worry, my Ravengale Hall can handle this matter. I'd like to see who has the guts to cause trouble in my territory. Boom. However, he had only just finished speaking when a huge palm descended from the sky, smashing into the plaza. Countless Black Dragon cult's disciples were blown to bits. For a moment, flesh and blood splattered everywhere, and blood sprayed everywhere. The entire square turned into a living hell. What? Seeing this scene, the pupils of the bald man and the evil-looking youth beside him, as well as the surrounding experts, suddenly shrank. This was because they had not felt any danger at all. As for how that huge palm had appeared, they had no idea. Damn it! Who is it? Get out here! Seeing so many of his subordinates die at once, the bald man roared madly. At the side, the young man with the wicked eyebrows did not look good either. Their muscles tensed as they quickly scanned their surroundings, trying to find the enemy. In the next moment, a figure descended before them. Who is it? Could it be that you did it just now? The bald man and the evil-looking youth looked at the figure in front of them with bewilderment, because this was not what they had expected. In their opinion, only those from the Martial Alliance could go against the Black Dragon River. Moreover, the person who could do such a thing must be a super elder in the Martial Alliance. However, the figure in front of him was a young man. In fact, he was even a few years younger than the evil youth. Such a young person, no matter how talented he was, should only be at the spirit transformation realm or the spirit detecting realm. How could he have such power? This figure was naturally Lin Xian. He glanced at the front and then said in a deep voice, "It seems that you are the so-called remnants of the Ravengale Hall." Remnants? Kid, you're courting death. The supremacies were enraged when they heard that. So it's you. Since that's the case, you can all die. Lin Xian's eyes flickered like a killing god. How dare you? How dare you? You're courting death. Lin Xian's words infuriated these people. When had they ever been looked down upon like this? The bald man roared furiously. He pulled out the saber on his back and quickly slashed it forward. Kid, go to hell. He did not care who the young man in front of him was. Only death awaited him for daring to say such things. The saber gleam flashed ferociously like a ferocious tiger descending the mountain. The surrounding martial artists cheered when the saber was swung. In their opinion, as long as their boss swung the saber, the arrogant kid in front of them would definitely be split in half. However, they were stunned in the next moment. Even the smiles on their faces froze. That was because that ferocious saber was actually caught by the other party. Moreover, it was caught by the other party with 2 fingers. Their eyes almost popped out when they saw that. 2 fingers actually caught their boss's full-powered attack? How was that possible? Too weak. Lin Xian shook his head slightly. Then, he exerted some force with his fingers. Immediately, the huge saber broke into 2 with a crack. What? It broke? The bald man was stunned. He could not believe it. Not only did the other party catch his attack, but he also broke his saber. That was something that he did not dare to imagine. However, Lin Xian was not willing to talk nonsense with him. He simply threw a punch and directly hit the bald man's chest. Immediately, the bald man's ribs broke and a transparent round hole appeared in his chest. Plop. The bald man's corpse knelt on the ground. His pupils suddenly dilated. Even until his death, he could not believe that someone could kill him with a single punch. That scene deeply stunned everyone in the hall. One had to know that their boss was a fourth heaven martial honor realm patriarch who would soon break through to the fifth heaven martial honor realm. He was extremely powerful. However, at that moment, he was killed with a single punch. Demon, you're a demon. The remaining supremacies felt their scalps go numb. Their expressions changed drastically as they retreated, wanting to escape. However, Lin Xin's body swayed. Like a ghost, he appeared in front of everyone in an instant. He quickly attacked. Every time, it was a simple punch. The seemingly ordinary fist had become a life-taking divine fist in the eyes of these people. Everyone was like a piece of paper, unable to withstand the power of that fist. Boom, 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 boom. Those supremacies' bodies split open one by one and were blasted into pieces. In an instant, all 18 supremacies in the hall were dead. Only the evil-looking young man in a white shirt was left. The evil-looking young man looked at Lin Xin's back. His entire body trembled and his pants were wet. He was so scared that he peed his pants. He could not believe that there was such a terrifying person in the world who could kill 18 supremacies in an instant. Every single one of them was killed with a single punch. The only person who could do this was probably their hall master. Who are you? The evil-looking young man was so scared that his voice trembled. Lin Xin turned around and asked coldly, "Are you also from the Ravengale Hall?" No, I'm not from the Ravengale Hall. I'm from the Divine Pill Hall," the evil-looking young man quickly said. He thought that Lin Xin was only targeting the Ravengale Hall. However, Lin Xin frowned. His eyes flashed with cold killing intent. "Divine Pill Hall? So you're also from the Black Dragon sect? If that's the case, then die." With that, his 5 fingers formed a claw and grabbed forward. Chapter 1327. Lin Xin frowned, and a cold killing intent flashed in his eyes. "Divine Pill Hall? So you're also a member of the Black Dragon sect? If that's the case, then die." With that, he clawed at the young man. The evil young man's expression changed drastically. He did not expect Lin Xin to attack the entire Black Dragon sect. He found it laughable because the Black Dragon sect was the overlord of the entire Tianan region. However, he did not have time to laugh at Lin Xin because the terrifying palm had already reached for him. "Damn it, get lost." The evil young man roared angrily and quickly shot out a flame. Boom. The flame was terrifying and burned fiercely with monstrous momentum. It was going to burn Lin Xin to ashes. It was alchemy fire, the flame that the evil young man was proud of. His cultivation was also at the 4th heaven of the venerable realm. His strength was not weaker than the bald man from before. Not only that, he also had a strange alchemy fire, so his overall strength was stronger. Now that he was forced into a corner, he could only use all his strength to escape. "Die," the evil young man roared. However, the flame that he was proud of had no effect on Lin Xin. In an instant, Lin Xin grabbed the young man's neck and twisted it forcefully. "No, you can't kill me." The evil young man shouted frantically and wanted to beg for mercy. However, his neck was broken halfway through his sentence. Plop. Lin Xin threw the young man's body aside. At that moment, DK, the president of the Alchemy Guild, and the others had just arrived. They were shocked when they saw the countless venerable corpses in the hall. "They're all dead?" Their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. One had to know that those people who ruled Tianshan country were the true powerhouses. Each of them could wipe out Tianshan country, but they were all killed at that moment. Lin Xin turned around and said to DK and the others, "That's all I can do. The rest is up to you. You are now venerables, and the strongest person in Tianshan country has been killed by me. You can distribute the resources as you wish. Try your best to survive. Don't fight against the Black Dragon cult. Once I'm done with the matters in Xia country, I'll launch an all-out attack on the Black Dragon cult." With that, Lin Xin soared into the sky and quickly disappeared into the horizon. Only a group of people were left, looking at the sky and exclaiming, "Whoosh!" In the next moment, Lin Xin returned to the spirit boat. He quickly steered the spirit boat and flew in the direction of the Xia country. "How is it? Do you know those people down there?" Murong Qingcheng and the others asked. Some old friends, but they were captured by the Black Dragon sect, so I'm dealing with them. Now, let's go to Xia country immediately. There seems to be a mutation there, Lin Xian said. Mutation? What mutation? Murong Qingcheng and the others were puzzled. It's said that a kind of crystal appeared there that can increase a warrior's strength in an instant. The venerables of the Black Dragon cult all appeared like this. There's such a magical thing in the world? Murong Qingcheng was surprised, and Luo Bingshan was also moved. The Crimson Dragon held his chin and thought carefully. It's not that there aren't things that can increase a warrior's cultivation in an instant, but these things are all extremely precious. But according to what you said, at least countless warriors of the Black Dragon cult have benefited. That's impossible. If there are so many things that can increase a warrior's cultivation, then why are we still cultivating? The Crimson Dragon was very puzzled. He thought for a long time but still couldn't understand. Lin Xian also took a deep breath. Don't think about it. We'll know when we reach Xia country. The incident in Tianshan country happened so quickly that the Black Dragon cult didn't even notice. Moreover, Tianshan country was just an ordinary country. There were thousands of countries like it in the Tianan region, so it wasn't worth paying attention to. In other words, they didn't even know that Lin Xian and the others were coming. Xia country wasn't too far away from Tianshan country. With Lin Xian and the others' speed, they could arrive in a day. As they got closer and closer to Xia country, Lin Xian also became nervous. He was afraid that something would happen to his family, so he was very nervous. Murong Qingcheng comforted him from the side. The Crimson Dragon was very excited and couldn't wait to rush to Xia country. He really wanted to know what kind of magical thing could increase a warrior's cultivation in an instant. Xia country was located in a very remote location in the Tianan region. It was originally just an ordinary country that wouldn't attract anyone's attention. However, half a year ago, a mysterious crystal appeared here. The crystal was very magical. It contained a mysterious energy that could increase a warrior's cultivation by a large margin. At first, the crystal wasn't discovered by humans, but was swallowed by a demon beast. Suddenly, that ordinary demon beast turned into a powerful demon general in an instant. As this happened more and more, it finally attracted the attention of warriors. However, the Black Dragon sect had fully recovered and was wantonly invading the Tianan region. At that time, Xia country was controlled by the Nether Hall. Therefore, this matter was quickly discovered by the Nether Hall, and the entire Black Dragon sect was shocked. Later on, Xia country was controlled by the upper echelons of the Black Dragon sect. Most of the mysterious crystals fell into the hands of the Black Dragon sect. Of course, not all of them. There were also experts and geniuses from the Martial Alliance, as well as those who were lucky enough to obtain some. However, compared to the Black Dragon sect, the number was pitifully small. Since then, Xia country became a place that the Black Dragon sect paid great attention to. This was because this was the production area of the mysterious crystals. However, other than the mysterious crystals, there was another place that was listed as a forbidden area. That was the Swordpool Mansion. Because the Swordpool Mansion was too strange, the entire mansion was completely wrapped in ice, and outsiders couldn't enter at all. Even the supremacies of the Black Dragon sect couldn't break through the ice. Later on, it was said that the Black Dragon sect's protectors were alarmed and came to investigate. In the end, they couldn't break through it, but they gave an order. The entire Swordpool Mansion was sealed, and outsiders were not allowed to approach. On the other side, the moment Lin Xian entered Xia country's territory, he unleashed his powerful soul force to investigate the Swordpool Mansion. When he sensed the dense ice energy, he heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the Swordpool Mansion is still the same. It's wrapped in ice and didn't break through. It seems that those people from the Black Dragon sect didn't succeed. However, this also made him very puzzled, because the Swordpool Mansion would definitely attract the attention of the Black Dragon sect, and those supremacies would also make a move. Now that the Swordpool Mansion was still wrapped in ice, it meant that the other party had failed. What kind of ice was it that even the supremacies couldn't break through? This made Lin Xian very puzzled. At the same time, he was very worried. Under such a powerful ice energy, Could the Lin family members in the Sword Pool Mansion survive? Chapter 1328. In the sky, the spirit boat flew quickly like a bolt of lightning, streaking across the sky above the state of Great Xia. Soon, Lin Xian and the others arrived above the Sword Pool Mansion. Just as they had predicted, the situation in the state of Great Xia was worse than that in the Tianshan country. The strongest Black Dragon sect warrior in the Tianshan country was only at the fourth heaven of the Venerable Realm. In the state of Great Xia, fourth heaven venerables could be seen everywhere. In addition, there were fifth heaven, sixth heaven, and even seventh heaven venerables. It seemed that the rumors were true. The mysterious crystal that could increase a warrior's cultivation came from the state of Great Xia. Otherwise, the Black Dragon sect would not have sent so many experts to this remote country. None of these venerables noticed that there was a spirit boat above them. Not to mention these people, the spirit boat had a hidden aura array. Even an 8th heaven or 9th heaven venerable might not be able to sense it. Lin Xian stood on the spirit boat and quickly probed below with his soul power. Below, there was an azure ice city that was releasing traces of cold air. It was like the legendary Ice Kingdom. There was a defensive array around it that blocked the cold air and prevented it from spreading. In addition, there were many pavilions and halls near the Sword Pool Mansion. Each of them had the flag of the Black Dragon sect. Obviously, they were responsible for guarding the place. One of the pavilions was very majestic. It had a total of 32 floors and was 100 feet tall. It was magnificent and looked like a heavenly pillar standing on the ground. Countless warriors were entering and exiting the huge pavilion. These people were all elites of the Black Dragon sect. If Lin Xian wanted to know about the Sword Pool Mansion, he naturally looked at the majestic pavilion. With his outstanding soul power, he could clearly hear the conversation in the building. On the 23rd floor of the pavilion, a hunchbacked old man's eyes were like lightning. He had the aura of a 6th heaven venerable. He asked his subordinate in a deep voice, "How are the preparations going?" "We're almost done. This time, we've recruited many array masters and even invited the 3rd Division Master of the Divine Pill Hall. I think with his Fire Cloud Earth Fire, he should be able to break the ice outside the Sword Pool Mansion," a middle-aged man in black light armor quickly reported. After the hunchbacked old man heard this, he nodded in satisfaction. "Since you're ready, let's do it tomorrow. This Sword Pool Manor actually has such strange ice. I think there must be some kind of rare treasure inside. Therefore, no matter what, we have to break it open. I'd rather miss it than miss it. I won't let the treasure escape in front of me." The hunchbacked old man revealed an evil smile. Then, he said in a deep voice, "All of you can leave now. Go and prepare. Also, we must tighten our defenses tonight. We must not let anything happen at the most critical moment." The warriors under him nodded, then turned around and prepared to leave. However, when they pushed open the door to the conference hall, they found an unfamiliar young man standing outside. "Which branch are you from? Why was he here? Don't you know the rules?" Seeing this young man blocking their way, an elder snorted in displeasure. However, the mysterious young man in front of him had an ice-cold expression. His body stood there like a boulder and did not move at all. In the main hall, the Black Dragon sect members were even more displeased. Suddenly, their pupils constricted as if they had discovered something. Then, they shrieked, "You're not a disciple of the Black Dragon sect? Who are you? Why are you here?" They had indeed discovered something strange because the young man's clothes did not have the symbol of the Black Dragon sect. No matter what clothes the Black Dragon sect wore, there would be a black dragon as a symbol. However, the young man did not have such a symbol. This meant that the young man was definitely not a member of the Black Dragon sect. The mysterious young man in front of them was indeed not a member of the Black Dragon sect because he was Lin Xian. Previously, he had used his soul power on the spirit boat to gather information. Soon, he heard the conversation in the conference room. When he found out that these people wanted to attack the Sword Pool Mansion tomorrow, an uncontrollable killing intent rose from his body. No one could attack his people. That was his bottom line. Now, someone actually dared to touch his bottom line. Therefore, He arrived outside the conference hall in an instant. Since these people wanted to attack the Swordpool Mansion tomorrow, he could only destroy them today. However, the elders in the hall were extremely displeased that the young man dared to ignore their words. Men, where's the enforcers? Take him down. Interrogate him. We must find out who he is. How did he get in? The hunchbacked old man shouted coldly. His voice was filled with endless majesty. The others also frowned. Yes, their place could be said to be very confidential. There were groups of guards outside, so outsiders could not enter at all. However, the young man in front of them appeared here, which made them very puzzled. No need to shout. Are the guards you mentioned them? Lin Xian waved his hand, and more than 10 heads fell to the ground. Every head was covered in blood, and those people even had terrified expressions on their faces. What? Seeing this scene, everyone was dumbfounded because the heads on the ground belonged to the law enforcement team outside. However, at this moment, they were all killed. Moreover, they did not know when the young man attacked. Thinking of this, they broke out in cold sweat. This was because such a situation would only happen when the difference between the two sides was too great. Otherwise, if the two sides attacked, they would definitely know. In other words, the mysterious young man's strength was beyond their expectations. He could kill their people silently. But how was that possible? Those law enforcement team members were all venerable ones. Who could kill so many venerable ones silently? In the hall, these people did not dare to believe it. However, these people would not sit still and wait for death. Many of them started to send voice transmissions to mobilize people from their floors. The middle-aged man in black armor from before strode out and asked coldly, "Who are you? What's your purpose here?" Lin Xian did not answer his question. Instead, he asked in return, "Are you going to attack the Swordpool Mansion tomorrow?" Hearing this, everyone frowned, and the burly man in black armor's pupils constricted. He said in a sharp voice, "Are you from the Swordpool Mansion?" "That's right. I'm from the Swordpool Mansion," Lin Xian said coldly. "Since you want to attack my clansmen, then don't blame me for annihilating all of you." Hearing that he was from the Swordpool Mansion, everyone was shocked, and the middle-aged man in black armor even laughed wildly. "Good, that's really great. We were worried that we didn't know the secrets of the Swordpool Mansion. I didn't expect you to deliver yourself to us. Kid, kneel down obediently and tell me all the secrets of the Swordpool Mansion. I can leave your corpse intact. Otherwise, you and your clansmen will be torn into pieces." The burly man in black armor had a cruel smile on his face, and the others in the room also laughed wildly. Chapter 1329. Great. That's great. We were worried that we didn't know the secrets of the Swordpool Mansion. I didn't expect you to deliver yourself to us. Kid, kneel down obediently and tell me all the secrets of the Swordpool Mansion. Then, I'll leave your corpse intact. Otherwise, you and your clansmen will be torn into pieces. The burly man in black armor had a cruel smile on his face. Everyone else in the room laughed maniacally. Great. They could finally unravel the secrets of the Swordpool Mansion. Moreover, Lin Xian's face darkened. Endless killing intent emerged from his body. These people still dared to have designs on the Swordpool Mansion. They really deserve to die. How dare you have designs on the Lin family? You deserve to die. Lin Xian's voice was cold. He stretched out his hand, and a huge suction force came from his palm. Instantly, the middle-aged man in black armor was sucked into his hand. Then, terrifying lightning surged out and enveloped the burly man in black armor. Crackle. The charred body fell to the ground. The burly man in black armor had turned into a dried corpse. His entire body was charred black, and the lightning on his body kept trembling. He couldn't be more dead. Who else dares to have designs on the Lin family? Lin Xian's eyes were cold as he swept his gaze across the room. Everyone in the hall was dumbstruck. It was dead silent. In the hall, the people from the Black Dragon sect were completely stunned. They didn't expect the burly man in black armor to be killed so easily without any resistance. This was beyond their expectations. The burly man in black armor wasn't weak. He was at the fifth heaven of the honorable realm, and was considered an expert among them. However, such an expert couldn't even withstand one move from the young man in front of them. Moreover, what frightened them even more was that the young man said he was from the Swordpool Mansion. However, since when did the Swordpool Mansion have such an expert? Could he be from the Martial Alliance? The hearts of the elders from the Nether Hall beat wildly. However, they quickly shook their heads. The Martial Alliance was the sworn enemy of the Black Dragon sect. They had detailed information about the young experts in the Martial Alliance, but they didn't know who the young man in front of them was. In that case, there were only two possibilities. The first was that the young man wasn't from the Martial Alliance. The second was that the young man was an expert who had only appeared recently. However, no matter which one it wasn't good news to them because they were now enemies. "Who are you? What are you trying to do?" the hunchbacked elder in the hall asked coldly. "I've already said that I'm from the Lin family. As for my purpose, of course, it's to destroy the Black Dragon sect. Exterminate the Black Dragon sect?" When they heard this, the elders of the Nether Hall sneered with disdain. "Do you think that you can save your lives with more people?" Lin Xian's lips curled into a disdainful smile. "You're courting death. Kid, you're still so stubborn even when you're about to die." Seeing the disdainful smile, the elders of the Nether Hall were furious. The hunchbacked elder's face was gloomy. He waved his hand and said to the warriors around him, "Go, kill him." Once the order was given, the 8 men in black who were walking at the front immediately attacked. 8 fists were thrown from different directions. They were like ferocious beasts as they rushed toward Lin Xian at high speed. These 8 people were all experts. They were not inferior to the men in black who had died earlier. If the 8 of them attacked, no one in the pavilion would be able to stop them. Bang, bang, bang. However, such terrifying fists stopped when they were 3 feet away from Lin Xian. They could not move at all. What? How is this possible? Everyone was shocked. The 8 men were even more horrified. They felt an incomparably terrifying power on their bodies, causing them to completely lose the ability to resist. Crack, crack, crack. In the next moment, the 8 of them screamed because their arms were all chopped off, revealing eerie white bones. Not only that, but there was also terrifying lightning surging out. It was like a lightning beast that instantly swallowed them up. Boom. 8 charred corpses fell to the ground. Impossible. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were all stunned. They cried out in horror. In the blink of an eye, the expert from the Black Dragon cult was killed without being able to put up any resistance. This was too shocking. They could not believe it. Chapter 1330. In the blink of an eye, the 8 Black Dragon sect experts were killed without being able to resist at all. This was too shocking. They could not believe it. Based on the way Lin Xian killed the burly man in black armor, he should have surpassed the 5th heaven of the Venerable Realm. However, looking at his age, he was only in his 20s. At most, he was at the 6th heaven of the Venerable Realm. It was impossible for him to be stronger than that. However, even a 6th heaven of the Venerable Realm could not kill 8 5th heaven venerables in an instant. It was simply impossible. However, Lin Xian had done it so easily. "Are you a 7th heaven of the Venerable Realm?" These people looked at Lin Xian in horror. A 7th heaven of the Venerable Realm was a top-notch expert even in the Black Dragon sect. Although they were also venerables, they were only a branch of the Nether Hall, so there was no 7th heaven Venerable Realm expert among them. Go and get the Divine Pill Hall's 3rd Division Master." The hunchbacked old man shouted frantically with a terrified expression. Delay. They had to delay. They still had hope because the Divine Pill Hall's 3rd Division Master was a 7th heaven venerable. Moreover, he had the fire cloud earthly fire in his hands. It could be said that he was extremely terrifying. As long as he could make it in time, he would definitely be able to kill this little thief in front of him. In the next moment, the hunchbacked old man gave orders frantically again. Go, kill him. Even if he's a 7th heaven venerable, he can't stop so many of us." As far as they knew, A seventh heaven venerable could not fight against so many people. However, this was only their understanding. Seeing the countless Black Dragon sect martial artists, Lin Xian's lips curled into a cold killing intent. In the next moment, his eyes turned red, and his body was surrounded by a terrifying killing intent. A boundless sea of blood quickly appeared and surged behind him. Blood Sword Massacre. A low voice came from his mouth. Lin Xian's killing intent soared into the sky. The sea of blood behind him surged, and boundless killing intent instantly enveloped the entire hall. At this moment, the space was dyed red. Looking at the martial artists who were charging at him, Lin Xian threw a punch. Immediately, the sea of blood behind him surged and turned into a blood dragon that charged forward. Ah! No! In the next moment, a miserable shriek rang out. That was because the Black Dragon cult martial artist at the front had his body split open and turned into a bloody mist. In the blink of an eye, the crowded hall was emptied. Looking at this scene, everyone felt their scalps go numb, and their expressions were filled with fear. One punch, just one punch, had killed at least 100 martial artists. Half of them were supremacies. What kind of technique is this? How could it be so terrifying? Even a seventh heavenly layer venerable wouldn't be able to do that, right? The eyes of the Black Dragon Society members were filled with despair as they fled madly. However, the entire pavilion was sealed off by Lin Xian's blood sea. No one could escape. Since the moment these people had set their sights on the Sword Pool Mansion, their fates had been sealed. Lin Xian clenched his fist. The sea of blood around him surged, and a blood-red killing sword quickly appeared. Then, he brandished his long sword and streaks of sword chi swept out in all directions. Wherever the sword chi passed, the cultivators were all killed. Massacre. This was simply a massacre, because the two sides were not on the same level at all. One had to know that Lin Xian was an existence who could even kill a half-step king. Most of these people were 4th or 5th heaven supremacies. The better ones were at 5th or 6th heaven. The two sides were not on the same level at all. It was like a dragon trampling ants to death. Soon, all the martial artists who rushed over from the other floors were killed by Lin Xian. Only the Nether Hall elders were left in the hall. Blood gathered into a small river and flowed under everyone's feet. The pungent smell of blood made these damned elders have the urge to die. Lin Xian turned around again and stared at those people. Immediately, the elders in the hall trembled and screamed in fear. What are you trying to do? I'm telling you, don't mess around. We're from the Nether Hall. No, don't kill me. We'll tell you whatever you want to know. Please let us go. Many people roared, but even more people begged for mercy. A few elders even knelt on the ground and kept kowtowing to Lin Xian. They wanted to exchange for their lives. Lin Xian's expression was cold and even filled with disdain. These people seemed to be powerful and had reached the supremacy realm, but deep down, they were even inferior to those in the spirit-detecting realm. They lacked sharpness, bravery, and bloodthirstiness. This was because they did not cultivate their strength at all. They only reached the supremacy realm with the help of external forces. People like them could not unleash the strength that a supremacy should have. Once they encountered true danger, they would not dare to risk their lives. Pitiful ants, you're insulting the supremacy realm. Lin Xian stretched out his hand. Immediately, the sea of blood behind him turned into countless blood swords and stabbed forward. Don't kill me. Save me. Up ahead, the elders of the Black Dragon cult in the Great Hall screamed and quickly fled. However, they could not escape at all. The blood swords in the sky were like blood bolts of lightning. They instantly pierced through those elders and nailed them to death in the air. In the blink of an eye, everyone from the Nether Hall and the pavilion was killed. Lin Xian withdrew the sea of blood and absorbed all the blood around him. It turned into the power of the sea of blood and strengthened his blood sword inheritance again. The blood sword inheritance was very strange. The more he killed, the stronger he became. However, Lin Xian was not willing to use it normally. He would only use it when he met someone who deserved to die. He spread out his soul power and quickly scanned the entire 32nd floor of the pavilion. He did not find anyone who had escaped. Then, he turned around and walked out. The corpses in the corridor were piled up like a mountain and blocked the exit. Lin Xian frowned slightly and wanted to blast the way out. However, at that moment, a powerful force came from the opposite side and instantly blasted the corpses in the corridor into pieces. Not only that, but the pieces quickly burned and disappeared as if they did not exist at all. None of this was caused by Lin Xian, so he stopped and looked ahead with narrowed eyes. As expected, two figures appeared in front of him. The one in front was a handsome young man. He was wearing a luxurious robe and had flames gathered to form a fire dragon. Beside the young man with flames stood an old man. He was expressionless and had a sinister look in his eyes. He was like a goshawk and emitted an extremely dangerous aura. At that moment, the old man slowly retracted his hand, and the flames on his body quickly disappeared. It seemed that the previous attack was from this old man in black. The young man looked around and saw that no one was alive. He did not show any anger on his face. Instead, he smiled. Not bad, not bad. To be able to destroy a branch of the Nether Hall in such a short period of time, your strength is not bad. Looking at your young age, you should be a young genius. However, I don't have any information about you. I'm curious. Who are you? You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.